Chico and the Man will not be presented this evening, and the Rockford Files will be seen 1 hour later than normal, so that we may bring you the following special program.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Always happy to have my dear friend from my years at the Score on Word Balloon. It's another episode with Mike North. Welcome back, Mike.
What's up, John? I'm glad to be back on with you. I know you've been working hard. I've been working hard. We keep grinding away because we love what we do, buddy. And I enjoy watching a lot of your stuff. I learn a lot of things. Well, I love the comic book genres, and it's always good. I mean, when we were kids, we didn't, we saw the signatures. We saw the, Dick Tracy, Gold, we never saw them, so it's good. It's a good genre. I enjoy it. I like just watching different types of things and just expanding a little bit. So it's the great stuff you have.
I'm due to talk to two of my friends that are writing a new Dick Tracy comic book in April. Yeah, my buddy Alex and my buddy Mike Marisi.
Well, I love watching. Dick Tracy was a favorite of mine growing up. I mean, the Tribune, when it was this thick on Sundays, they led off with Dick Tracy, and I mean, they had the whole page. Then you'd get the Brenda Starr.
Yes,
you'd get the Doonesbury, Beetle Bailey. You'd go down the line, but there's no doubt if you're going to talk about a guy that probably made millions, and then they had TV shows. We had one here in Chicago, the Dick Tracy Show.
Oh, the animated show, sure.
Oh, with Ray Rayner. I just absolutely loved it. I liked anything identified with Dick Tracy. I even have revisited Warren Beatty. I've seen the old Dick Tracy films, which I like a lot, the black and whites.
Sure. Chester Morris.
Beatty concentrated on I know what he did. He's brilliant, but he concentrated on the colors and on the way that it looked. He wanted to maybe revolutionize something. I thought Madonna was okay. I thought anybody could have played her role, but I thought Beatty did a good job, and he had him down, and he had the wrist radio. I mean, when we saw the wrist radio in 1963, we didn't dream. I mean, my wife's got one, an Apple,
Of course.
So, Mike, you're ready? You come on in. You know what I mean? So you saw that, and you just see how some of these comic book people or these comic illustrators predicted the future with their stuff. I don't care if you're watching Flash Gordon, if you're watching anything. I mean, people forget. Flash Gordon's on TCM every Saturday. I try to catch it because they were good. They were simple and good. So you know what? It's all good stuff.
It keeps reinventing itself because people love now the amount of television and film that is dedicated to comic book ideas. But really, you go back to radio and the cliffhangers in the movie theaters and stuff, and they were exploiting these ideas beyond the comic page in film and in radio and eventually television. But you're right about the ideas, because even Star Trek, the communicators and the pads that were just portable little computers and stuff, and we're living the dream.
Right. We're living what we thought back then. I mean, I always talk when I watch Westerns. They do as much as they can, the good Westerns. I mean, I love the Audie Murphy Westerns. I love the B Westerns. I love anything. I watch John Wayne. I love him to a point. I do. I'm sorry.
To a point?
Well, I love him to a point that I don't almost make him the greatest ever. because I hear people tell me about Marlon Brando and Al Pacino, who I love. I didn't like Brando, but John Wayne was an automatic winner. It seemed like every time you made a movie with him. We watched Rooster Cogburn when he was like done, and him and Katharine Hepburn were trying to put on their best acting ability with each other. It is like an acting class. And then she says later on in life, she said, you know what? He was a very good actor. Yeah. And she said, because she didn't spread compliments a whole lot. So I respect what she said. And I thought their chemistry was great. And it was really a romantic movie when you stop and think about it.
Yes, it was.
Without all the handsy stuff and everything else.
Right. Oh, no. But it was mentally, it was a romantic movie. Like Robin and Marion. Marion, the Sean Connery, Audrey Hepburn Robin Hood movie. And again, it's them it's the characters in their twilight years, much like Rooster Cogburn.
Yeah, good point.
And again, no, it's a sentimental old elderly romance.
I think if you're going to make that kind of vehicle, it's got to be a different aura like that one was, where he's older. What I can't stand is don't make a remake if you're not going to give 100%. If you're going to be Russell Crowe and come in 30 pounds heavier, they got to clothe you because you came in too sloppy. Kevin Costner, I get it. He's a big time matinee guy. But there's some leaps in life, and they've tried it all. And the one guy, and I love him, Errol Flynn, he would be a star today, in my opinion, except maybe he would be a star today. He was the first action hero. You could say Fairbanks, but Fairbanks was
silent.
Silent.
Yeah.
If you're going vocal, action hero, I don't care who it was. I mean, it's hard to top that movie, which is amazing with all the movies that came out. It hardly won any awards when you watch it. Yet, if you look at it and you ask people, did you like Robin Hood with Errol Flynn? Anybody that watches movies goes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And they really introduced color in that movie. If you look at Warner Brothers, they were a lot of black and white back then. So they threw the color at you back in 36, 37 with that movie.
Oh, yeah. Here, Don agrees with you and says, Warren Bacall and John Wayne in The Shootist. Yeah, it was this kind of quiet level of intimacy without being overt with kissing and screwing, whatever.
John Wayne knew how to get it done. He knew what his aura was. I mean, I watch when they see him walk away in certain films. Everybody knows his walk that pays attention to the movies. The stuntmen apparently don't, because you see the stuntman walk away and you go, the guy's walking like a Hunchback of Notre Dame. Walk like
that's not the Duke.
No, it's not the Duke. Everybody, but she's absolutely right. Lauren Bacall, I love. She was great. I remember we did the Bolaramas, and Jim Bennett, who we all knew, Shaky, the guy from Brunswick. He got us Evander Holyfield. He got us
Jerome Bettis.
He got us George the Animal Steel. I mean, he got us.
All the wrestlers. My God, Goldberg.
And he got us Johnny Petraglia, the bowlers. Mark
Law.
Yes. My
Dick
hero,
Weber.
Dick Weber. I was
great. Dick Weber.
There's the Bulls are over here. Bob Probert and the Hawks are over here, and here comes Dick Weber. I go, excuse me. You know what I mean?
Dude, after successive Bolaramas, he's like, oh, John, nice to see you again. And I'm like, oh, Dick, I wish my father were alive to know that you remember me and enjoy talking to me. That means so much,
I actually sat on Saturday morning with my dad, who passed away before I had the Bolaramas, and we watched Dick Weber against Don Carter.
Sure.
I wish my dad, he was a huge bowler. He bowled at Ridge Bowl in Chicago, which is now a car wash. What else is new? We don't have enough car washes in this country, Shake.
I hear you, man.
Oh, yeah. And it was just a thrill to meet people like that. But
Petraglia,
Lauren Bacall, Jim Bennett, she worked for Brunswick. And Jim
I didn't know that.
So now I know you're going to be there. I know. And by the way, happy birthday today to Jesse Rogers.
Yeah, I saw that. I texted Jesse today. Yeah.
Little guy. Anyway.
Our good friend is he's the baseball expert for the non-sport fans. at ESPN, and he's the top baseball analyst. Pretty cool.
He's a monster. So she was supposed to come, and I couldn't believe it.
Wait, Lauren Bacall was going to come to
Jim
Bowl-O-Rama?
Bennett said Lauren Bacall, who worked for Brunswick, that was part of her job. She was going to come. Now,
Celebrity endorser. Sure.
She did The Sopranos. She did other shows later on in her life.
Oh, of course she did.
And we had a lot of big stars. I mean, we had the heavyweight champ of the world. But then when I heard, and you and I met guys like Harold Ramis and big time stars.
Yes, we did.
And the Sopranos and other people.
Sure.
But for some reason, when I heard like 70-some-year-old Humphrey Bogart's wife is coming to the Bowl-O-Rama in Arlington Heights, then Jimmy calls me. Okay. It's one of the few cancellations he ever came up with. But I'm sorry, Mike. That Lauren Bacall can't make it to Alley 12. You know what I mean?
That's fantastic, man. I had no idea.
I would have been in awe. I mean,
well, seriously, man, you've experienced more than me, but really those 10 years I had at the store, it was like I always refer to myself as Forrest Gump, because the people that would come in, and it's like, yeah, hey, Frankie Avalon just came in. Hey, Mickey Mantle just came in, and good Lord, I mean, just the pantheon of both sports celebrities, but also film and
Julio
television.
Cesar Chavez walked in. People didn't even half, you know how it was over back then. A lot
Walter
of
Matthau, Tina Turner, John Fogerty.
See, we had no cell phones. If we had cell phones, I'd have a picture wall bigger than Gibson's. Are you kidding me? But we had it. I have enough pictures. I have all the Basta Pasta pictures. All of them. We have the tapes. We're trying to get them reconverted right now. I mean, from Harry Carey to Will Chamberlain to all of them. I mean, Pudge Fisk, Bobby Heenan.
The great man. I miss that guy. What a sweetheart of a guy. And truly a guy that we really got to know, Bobby Heenan.
Yeah.
One of the best, one of the greats.
He says to me, "Where'd you go to school?" I go, "I went to Swift. Kindergarten and first grade." He goes, "So did I." I go, "Wait a minute. I thought you were from Beverly Hills." He goes, "Come on, Mike. You know I grew up on Kenmore and Thorndale." And not many people know that. He goes, "I used to cut school and go to Goldblatt's on Lawrence and Broadway." You know, I mean, one of the greatest Chicago and national type entertainers who's ever done any genre, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, he was fast with thinking and one-liners. I mean, God, I remember him telling us that Jerry Lewis was impressed with him on the Labor Day telethon.
Yeah,
because they had Hulk Hogan and all these guys, and they're all stammering. They don't know what the hell to say. And Bobby's cracking wise, and Lewis is like, "Thank God you were there, man, because you knew how to play live." And that's that's the brain.
I love Jerry Lewis, but he was a colossal prick. He really was.
Oh, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I remember Jeff Hoover pulled this on me at WGN because I had made it known that I wanted Jerry Lewis, and he was in town doing Damn Yankees. And I had found out that he once in a while would frequent Miller's Pub because it was right there. And they had a good time over. Joey Heatherton used to go in there. I mean,
it's down the street from the Palmer House, everybody, which is this great elite hotel, still an amazing hotel. And Miller's is just this great down the street, Greek run, every kind of food you want, and late night place. And all the celebrities, you can go there and see the photographs. Humphrey Bogart, Marilyn Monroe, a lot. Jerry Lewis himself. They all went there, man.
I heard Joey Heatherton would go in there every night after she did her shows, and the place would start to get packed, knowing the people coming and other people. But Jerry Lewis, I want to love the guy. And he did his own, the documentary was great, but man, I wanted to get him on. And he says, "I don't do radio. I don't do radio." I said, "All right, but it was just the way he said it. You know what I mean? And he's not known as the nicest guy. Let's face it, in the business.
Yeah, but I give
Norman Lear would like to kill him to this day because they worked together.
Norman Jerry was no longer with us, but absolutely no. Jerry.
Oh yeah, he'd have trouble now.
And speaking of dead celebrities, I got to point out, Mike has a great podcast that he does and it's got the greatest title in the world. Tell them what your title is for the
The
show.
title, well, I got two great things that I'm very proud of at this date in my career. Somebody big just died, and I pitched it to Shaky. Well, we just got done with the Richard Lewis episode. You can go to North, NORTH, and number 2, NORTH. And they could also catch it at the Bar Room, which I have a small
Barroom Sports. Yep.
Barroom Sports. And it's really got a good audience, and we're sponsored. Look, when I was a kid, Bar Funeral Home sponsored our Little League team. So now I'm thinking to myself, we're going to do a show, Somebody Big Just Died. And what really happened was Shaky sort of gave me the idea. He goes, you really, I'm thinking maybe doing something different. And at the time I said, me too, maybe I'll think of something. So I think it up, and then Shake says, I got this other thing going right now, Mike. I really can't do it. I go, okay, that's okay. But I didn't give it up. I said, I go take
No, I'm glad you didn't. It's a good idea.
So now all of a sudden, I got Cumberland Chapels as one of my sponsors,
which is a funeral home.
Oh, I call it the Portillos of funeral homes. I mean, the only thing they're missing. Oh yeah, the only thing they're missing is a drive-through. You just shovel in, shovel out. John was a good man. John, and you just get
yeah, sure.
There's always a hearse there for you. They have plenty of parking. I mean, just all sorts of good stuff. And then afterwards, you go to Pennyville Station, my other sponsor in Park Ridge with Tino Antonacci, for the food after the funeral, if you want, or anything else. So you tie it in. But yeah, it's a great thing, and I've done some tough ones. Dick Butkus died on me. Bobby Knight died on me. I go, I didn't think it would be this rough. I'm feeling like a family member because you and I love the genre. I don't care how good you are or how bad you are. And then Raquel Welch dies. That sent me for a depression for about a couple of days. My God, my first love is, look, you put a woman on the wall of your bedroom when you're 13. It's not there just for entertainment purposes. Okay.
That reminds me when Barbara Eden came in studio.
Oh,
and of course, she was one of my first crushes as well. And I'm like, I got to tell you, you were one of my, and she looked at me with a withering look, and it was like, how charming. And she was not, I don't know.
I know.
I'm like, thanks. Okay. Sorry, Gene.
That's right. I'll never forget this as long as I live. Billy Maravich comes up to me at Gibson's. He goes, Mike, Christy and he was married to Christy Hefner at the time.
Christy Hefner, he was daughter, yeah.
Yeah. And nice lady. And
oh, yeah.
Nice guy. And he says, hey, we're going to have a get together. I said, really? Yeah. And he says, it's at my house. And I go, what kind of get together? Well, it's a political get together. I go, yeah, it's okay. Well, he says, Warren Beatty and Annette Bening are going to be there. I go, wait a minute. Hold on for a second. Warren Beatty and Annette Bening are going to be there. You had a couple other dignitaries, but those are the two big ones that are coming in to be the heavy hitters. Sure. Well, little did I know it was a fundraiser for progressive type of politics.
Yeah, Democrats, yeah.
I think Jan Schakowsky was there, and some other politicals who not outside of Chicago weren't known, but they're very powerful people.
Yeah.
I said, that's fine. Now, here's the deal. It was $15,000.
Oh, my God.
To get it, to enter the door and to eat dinner with them.
Sure.
I said, okay. Forget it. Happy birthday to me.
Jesus.
I put $15,000 down. Me and B, we give it. That's part of the campaign. Don't ever say I didn't donate to the campaign causes, even if I didn't know what they were for. And here he comes. He's in one room and he walks out, and there's Warren Beatty. I was like Jackie Gleason.
Totally.
And then here comes Annette Bening. Absolutely looked exhausted. They had their 4 kids with them, as I found out later, and they were at the Four Seasons with the nanny while they were at this fundraiser, but she looked tired. Warren Beatty and I bonded. I couldn't believe it. Before dinner. And we're sitting there talking for about, BB says, 25 minutes about everything. And that guy's the best listener, because I'm a lousy listener, really. I'm gotten better. But he was the best listener. He's like this listening. I'm sitting with a guy who I watched in Bonnie and Clyde at the Devon Theater in 1966.
Sure.
of somebody that's great. I love
Yeah.
great people. And you can condemn people's work, but you got to know when somebody's great. Just like I knew Richard Lewis was great, even if you don't like that kind of comedy. You got to know who's great in the genre that you know the comic book greats. You do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's the guy that, Marvel?
Stan Lee.
Oh, when we were kids, we didn't even know who he was, right? Nobody made a big deal of these guys until motion pictures came in. And who am I sitting with? Warren Beatty, one of the great producers, actors,
Directors.
studs, everything.
Yeah.
And then I get seated with Annette Bening. And me and B are sitting there, and there's 8 people, and Annette Bening's right there. And what does Dummy say? You know what? I got to hand it to you. That scene in The Grifters when you're laying on the bed. I thought she'd take it better. She didn't say much. Oh, thank you. Like that, right? I go, oh, Jesus.
Well, you are talking about a naked woman. So.
Clearly, one of the most statuesque women I have ever seen in anything. I don't care. You know, Mr. Skin. Ask him to rate Annette Bening in The Grifters. Wait, he knows how to rate. We used to come on the show. Ask him to rate Annette Bening in The Grifters.
Oh, yeah. No.
She's got to be top 5. Unbelievable.
And I've said this before when I have Mr. Skin on, he loves talking to me because I bring up I even bring up women from the 60s and 70s.
Oh, yes.
Like Nancy Kovac or,
she was a devout lesbian, I believe, John.
Nancy Kovac? I know Joy Lansing was.
And so was the lady on the Brady Bunch.
Oh, which? Not
the maid. The maid.
Oh, yeah, M.B. Davis. Yeah, might have been. Yeah, I don't know for sure.
The B gave it away. Yeah.
Well, Florence Henderson is notorious for admitting she caught the clap from Mayor John Lindsay of New York. So yeah, no, there's great. I think Florence banged Dean Martin too. I really do. I think Florence had a lot of fun.
I think Dean Martin. The rumors are allegedly, because I know that this one lady,
Dina Martin. Yeah, his daughter might come after you if you to say allegedly.
Look, I wouldn't want to mess with her, by the way. But Petula Clark, okay.
Oh, I'm not gonna. I won't say it on the air, but I got a great Petula Clark story. But go ahead.
All I know is I was in Vegas, hungover. I was in a cab, and we were driving by, and at the Orleans it said Petula Clark, and I almost said, "Stop the car! I gotta go see Petula Clark."
Hell yeah!
She's still performing now.
She's got a great. Hey man, if you can still sing, God bless her. She was.
Can I tell you something? If I'm ever in Vegas again, and why would I go? They don't even have a Portillo's. Why? If I'm ever in Vegas again, I would go check out Petula Clark in a heartbeat if she was there.
Sure.
Downtown's one of the best songs I ever heard in the 1950s.
I know a place downtown. Absolutely.
Don't sleep in the subway. Come on,
sign of the times.
I couldn't live without your love.
Our good friend Bill Kavanaugh is a sales rep for MeTV Radio.
Oh.
And honestly, man, music radio, most of radio is not very good. And no offense, Mike, because I know you're still doing your show every week and everything.
Listen, look, one man can't save the whole industry, pal.
Well, there you go. But really, the MeTV Radio, I love it because they surprise me with old songs. Like, as I've always said, as an example, another singer from the 70s, Helen Reddy. I'm like, they play like 5 Helen Reddy songs, not just Delta Dawn and I Am Woman. Exactly, man. Crazy. And that's what I love. It surprised me because and again,
I don't know how to love them. Helen Reddy sings that.
But you Leave Me Alone. But you know the era when Top 40 really was a sampling of everything in music. And Everybody Loves Somebody Sometimes. Dean Martin knocked the Beatles off number 1, and it's like, or Mantovani has an instrumental, and it hits the charts.
Or Paul Moria. Love is Blue was huge. Love is Blue was a huge song with Paul Moria. I'm not kidding you. It
No,
was
I hear
free.
you, man.
But you still had and you know, you don't know how old you're getting till, like, for instance, Lou Christie just turned 85 the other day.
Mike, you know who was in town?
85.
You know who was in town doing a Christmas show was Johnny Mathis. And Jesus, if you look at Johnny Mathis, God bless him for still being out there, but he looks like he should have just walked out of the Field Museum as one of the mummies. And it doesn't even look like Johnny Mathis anymore. I don't know what the hell he looks like.
I saw Paul Anka at Caesars in Chicago and a lot of great people. I had connections. I saw Sinatra at the Desert Inn. And these people all had life to them. I saw Johnny Mathis at Caesars. He stood in the same spot for like 5 straight songs, would say, "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen," and just go right into the next song. Say thank you after each song. I go, I got it. I wanted to get the hell out of there. And then I see him 20-some years later, and he's still performing. You know, I'll tell you who I saw the other night.
Who?
On PBS. Yeah, I still get it. They didn't block me. Can you imagine a TV could block you? Anyway.
Yeah.
Barbra Streisand, live from Brooklyn, 2014. Legend. I don't like a lot about the woman sometimes. I like some of her movies, some of them I don't. But I read about her life. What an interesting lady. Still good. Won every award you could win, more than anybody else. And she banged all her leading men. She admits to it.
Sure.
Nick Nolte. You name it, she got him. And
I believe it.
Ryan O'Neal more than once. But then again,
oh God, yeah. Well, you know, but you gotta say, Mike, honestly, if you can reach that Sinatra, Judy Garland pinnacle,
she reminded me of it. It was from the Barclays Center. Beautiful set. The lights come on and she's standing there, Sinatra-esque. Yeah. Where everybody got up just by seeing Elvis-esque. Elvis, Streisand, Sinatra. Those are the people. And then you see Kapaloo, my boy Nat King Cole. And,
and Stubby K.
He had lung cancer when he sang that, and he didn't see the release of the movie because he died.
Yeah.
I'm so sick. I got so much useless information.
You know, it's funny. Listen, I'm glad we're talking old Hollywood because truly the title of this show is Pre-Oscar Chat. And the honest truth is, I got to tell you, Mike, I don't have the excitement that I used to when we were kids.
Oh, my God. When Liz Taylor would show up with Richard Burton? Are you kidding me? See, social media made everything more normal. You didn't see these people but twice, 3 times a year, maybe on the Carson Hill once.
You're right, Mike.
And then all of a sudden, you know where our guest is tonight, Ed? Who was that? Hey, who was that, Johnny? Liz Taylor and Richard Burton. Boom! Sonny and Cher on Letterman. Boom! With the reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's normal shit.
You're right. No,
it's normal. No big deal.
Celebrities are more accessible now, and you're right. And they're not the mythic people they were when we were growing up. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 10-year-olds are going to go nuts if they see Sydney Sweeney live. I don't know.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Taylor Swift is doing it the right way because she's limiting her access, even if she isn't. She's not going on talk shows. She's not making herself that accessible. She's got her billions. She's doing her concerts. She's at the football game like a normal girl. But you don't see a lot of anybody else. And there's no talent pool that she has to go up against like the talent pool you went up against in the 50s, 60s, or 70s. It's not even close, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you're right.
Not.
Yeah.
You're the Rolling Stones, maybe the greatest band of all time, and you're going, why doesn't anybody pay attention to us? Because there's another group called the Beatles, or there's a new group called Creedence Clearwater Revival, or there's people coming out of the woodwork. You had to be on your game. Now these people fall asleep at the wheel. They're looking for ideas. They're looking to us for ideas now, John. Netflix, all these people, they want ideas now because they can't. They're making remakes.
All right, and by the way, because we mentioned Wayne earlier,
Johnny.
They remade True Grit with Jeff Bridges. yeah, it was
I
okay,
can't
but
understand what he's saying.
exactly,
And then my buddy says it was better. I go,
No.
first of all,
No,
no,
it
it
wasn't.
wasn't. Second of all, Matt Damon wasn't as good as Glenn Campbell.
Glenn Campbell is great in that movie.
I don't give a damn what you say. Wayne could act any. First of all, you make a remake with John Wayne, you're out of your mind to begin with, but it was still good. But he wanted to be so different because he knew he couldn't do what John Wayne did. So now he looks like a homeless man, okay, who's had I mean, seriously. And I like Jeff Bridges a lot.
Me
I
too.
love
Great actor.
I love him. And he took that challenge. They made money off it. I thought the girl was better than Kim Darby. I thought the girl was better than Kim Darby.
Haley Stafford, okay. All
Although
right.
Kim's still around. But Glenn Campbell, Matt Damon sucked. Matt Damon sucked. I'm not happy with Matt Damon.
But there are movies that you can remake, and then there are vehicles.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite movies, and I'm sure it's one of yours, Flight of the Phoenix. They tried to remake it with Dennis Quaid, and I want to say Tyrese Gibson was the black actor.
Yes.
And it's like, no, man. You got scrawny Jimmy Stewart. You got fat Richard Attenborough.
They're actually hungry and irritated at each other and want to kill each other in that movie, and they don't look worth a shit.
As opposed to, again, Dennis Quaid looking great, all the supermodels and all the beautiful people. And it's like, no, man, these are scrungy people in the desert that are dying and barely surviving. And also, again, it's Jimmy Stewart. Well, I got to remake the plane.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, you don't need Dennis Quaid, looking beautiful and everything.
Yeah,
Give me a break.
The worst remake ever, because I was a friend of his with McHale's Navy. I wouldn't even.
I got a worse one.
Me and my buddies refused
Horrible.
because we all knew Ernest Borgnine because I got the Ellis Island Award with them in New York.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We partied with them. I got pictures with them, and my buddy Louis. You know, remember Louis?
Of course, Louis. Absolutely.
McHale. He goes over and I go, that's not his real name, Lou.
Did he love it though? Because it seemed
my God, he could not believe the adulation. I go, they don't even realize it, John. We've been with guys like Rip Torn. They don't realize how much we love him. That we grew up with him on McHale's Navy and Tim Conway and the brilliant Joe Flynn. I mean, just so good. And then we're telling him, he goes, wow, he had the gray hair. His
God,
wife was hot, Tova. She sat with me and B. We hung out and we had drinks, and he just a great guy. But that remake to me, why don't even go there, man? That was bad. That made everybody mad.
And and it was a throwaway comedy. Kelsey Grammer, I want to say, was in it.
Oh, Tom Arnold.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't Kelsey Grammer. It was Tom Arnold. But all right, my worst remake of all time is Going in Style, and it should have worked because the original, you had Art Carney, you had George Burns, you had Lee Strasberg, the great Hyman Roth.
So you're doing the movie. You're doing the movie version of what's bad,
and then the remake had a great cast:
Michael Caine,
Morgan Freeman, and Alan Arkin. It should have been a no-brainer hit, but it was a crap story. They remade the story. Hey, leave my granddaughter alone. I don't want you to screw with my granddaughter. And it's like, listen, no, man. You got three old men who, if they cut a fart the wrong way, that one of them's going to have a heart attack. And it's one of Art Carney's greatest roles. When they go to Vegas, him and Burns, and they're shooting dice, and Art Carney has no idea what the hell he's doing, but he just keeps winning money. And it's great. And George Burns is just like, I ain't never seen nothing like this ever. And Carney goes, that's good sentence structure. And that's the thing, man. It was George Burns and Norton screwing around and throwing dice. It was hilarious.
When you saw Art Carney, when I saw The Honeymooners as a kid, and I saw Art Carney, I said, that's the best second banana
ever.
In the history of television.
And then
Carney killed up.
I was going to say, exactly, 10 years later, Barney Fife shows up.
And I said, that's a new guy, new partner. But when you see the brilliance of Art Carney as an actor, even Harry Antano, which to me is just
Oh, I love that movie. Oh, I love that movie.
You know, it's not my type, but I watch brilliant acting. He's Art Carney. He's Norton. If he put the hat on in that movie, he would have been. Sure. He could have gone. He's so good. And Jackie Gleason, a lot of credit should go to him.
We were talking earlier about technology becoming reality. He has that great line in The Honeymooners. He doesn't want to buy a TV because like, I'm waiting for 3D television. And here we are, HD TV. Yeah. Well, I got news for you, Ralph. 70 years later, they finally made it.
Yeah, Jackie Gleason is one of my heroes. And he was a dropout like myself. He was a guy that had trouble at home every so often. But then you see him in the early Warner Brothers movies. And then he became friends with Toots Shor. My favorite story about Toots Shor and him is when they drink, Mantle and them guys would come in. Jackie Gleason would.
That was the bar to be at in New York.
Like Gibson's was for us,
Right.
In Chicago.
Sure.
Where everybody went from Jason Patrick to Keanu Reeves that I met in there, and Shaq and Jesse Jackson and, all these great people. But they got in a drinking contest one night, him and Toots Shor. And they were drinking all night. They were saying who could outdrink who. And about 7 a.m, he collapsed in the vestibule, Jackie Gleason. And they opened at 11, and he was still on the floor when people were coming in to eat lunch. So George said, leave him there. The great Jackie Gleason on the floor. And he says, leave him there for the people to see that I won. They go, wait, it's Jackie Gleason. He goes, that will make it even go. And he was like this till about 12 o'clock. And he woke up a couple of times and went back down. Like that. Great story. You can't make stories like that up. That's why. That's BS. No, you wouldn't make that up. That's that good a story.
He was notorious in the 50s of just needing to, he would go to what was called Doctor's Hospital, which was a real legitimate hospital. But he basically just go to there to dry out, basically.
Yeah.
Just after Benders, and then would need to be there for like a couple days and everything just to dry out. No, that 60 Minutes that he did with what's his face?
One of the best ever. Morley Safer and him?
Yeah. Were the girls on the train? Of course there were girls on the train.
Of course.
And his Tonight Show that he did. Yeah. And they had like 3 segments because Carson never, it was the only time he ever did the Tonight Show. And Jackie's chain smoking. Let me tell you something, John. And I love when celebrities would call Carson, not Johnny, but they'd call him John. And it's just like, and you knew there was just this level of.
They said Cannonball, they had trouble getting people on the set because he would just sit around and tell stories all day on the Cannonball set. He was great in that. I mean, what else?
Or Smokey? Are you thinking of Smokey?
Smokey, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. No, it's all Burt Reynolds. What are you going to do?
All Burt Reynolds, great Burt Reynolds.
Mike, I bought the Audible of Burt Reynolds reading his autobiography. Unbelievable stories. He knew everybody. He really, he became friends with Betty Davis in the 60s and stuff. Yeah. And also, there's a couple, you can find him on YouTube. There's a couple roundtable discussion specials that he had sitting down with a bunch of great actresses and also a bunch of great actors. And I know in the actor one, he had Mickey Rooney, Ricardo Montalban, and Jimmy Stewart, and one other. And they're from the 80s, and they're telling stories, and he's just like soaking it up. It was amazing.
Orson Welles is my favorite older celebrity. He's I think A Touch of Evil is my favorite Welles movie. So,
Mike, you would die. Seriously, I got to get you and Sal together for lunch sometime. Because seriously, you guys, you both remind me in the best ways of each other. Truly,
that's great. He's a good paisan too.
He's a great man. Don Lenzo wants to know if we know the Toots Shor Tony Galento story, and if you summarize it, I know the story, Don, but I would probably screw it up. Yeah. So if you want to write it out, we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes, Sal's the Senhai guy.
Of course. Senhai, 1960, 68. I got out my junior year. Used to hang out at Bob's. Used to hang out at the. Grew up on Ardmore, Ridge in Glenwood, around the Ardmore Street there, across from Sen. Then moved down to Norwood Street. Yeah, the Bulldogs.
Sal was
thrown out by-
1981.
Yeah, me and Fritzy got thrown out, I think, our junior years together. Or senior year. He
I
went
didn't
to
know
the
Fritzy
racetrack.
went there too. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, he went to the racetrack. I went to the beach. I mean, the counselor. I mean, I had a counselor. I'm sure Sal. I don't know if he was still there, Jim Neeson, and he told me after so many cuts, and my mother worked there for God's sake, and he dropped a bunch of cut slips. He goes, "This is what your son, Thorndale Drugs, right on the corner there, right there on Thorndale and Broadway." Yeah, the Swiss School right down the street, the Thorndale Deli with the big guy over there. We used to call him Frankenstein. The guy was like 6'6". Yeah, that whole neighborhood. I used to deliver papers down the street at the Edgewater News Agency. It's a great neighborhood. Or
Sal's dad was the bread truck guy.
oh, I love the bread truck guys. They were my
Exactly,
life.
man.
They were my life run. Good Ganella. Had a guy, the same guy for 3 of our hot dog stands on the run on Milwaukee Avenue. So when we were on Milwaukee at BB's,
Sure.
all the great people. I want to say hi to everybody who used to come to our 3 places before I even got into radio. So I want to always say hi to the people out there. Yeah, and Sal, that was a great neighborhood. There's no doubt about it. We hung out at Thorndale and Glenwood, Marianne Bakery. The bakery right on the corner. There was a Davidson's right on Thorndale and Broadway. So that's it. There's a bank across the street now where there used to be a mobile.
Oh, that's
we're gone by the time maybe, but he didn't grew up down the street.
Lenza. Don says Tony Galento, who's the heavyweight contender, big fat guy, fought Joe Lewis. He was
Don't
heckling
matter.
Jackie Gleason. Gleason said, "Let's step outside."
He
Supposedly,
could
Jackie
handle himself, Lisa could.
but Tony knocked him out.
Of
So
course.
So yeah, my favorite Tony Galento story is Jack Dempsey was training him for a while, and Jack Dempsey, heavyweight champ,
Yeah.
okay, and a generation before Tony, and but Dempsey was about 10 or 15 years after his prime, and he's like, when you shift, you kind of leave yourself open for a hook, and Galento says, "Shut up, old man, I know what I'm doing." Dempsey gets mad, takes his shirt off, puts the gloves on. He's like, "Let's go." And they get in the ring, and Galento dips forward. Dempsey hits him with a left hook. He goes down. He goes, when he wakes up, tell him I'm not training him anymore. And, and that's a real story. That I got that from
like that anymore. Now the guy would be sued, and they wouldn't be friends forever. They'd be better family and arch enemies and stuff. So
there you go.
Yeah,
There
but
you
it's
go.
just like a lot of good stories, a lot of good stuff, a
Yeah.
lot of fun times. I mean, so and then now I'm hearing Russell Wilson's released by Denver. I'd like to see the Bears pick him up. He's at the right price. You can get him for about $2 million.
Well, all right, let me. Okay, you got more observations you want to say about the Bears?
Denver pays up. Denver will pay him the other $37 million. So I see Goff and Mayfield and these guys that are supposedly over the hill end up in the playoffs. So I said, why we got to go through another rookie quarterback or through Justin Field again? Let's just get a guy for 2 years, draft a quarterback, have him watch Russell Wilson, one of the Hall of Fame quarterbacks and Super Bowl quarterback of all time, and learn something like the Green Bay Packers do, and maybe we got something. That's all. But the Bears won't. They'll draft the rookie, put him in, go, we're going to be good. And then the next thing you know, there's really good.
How about, did you see, and you and I haven't talked much about it, I don't think.
No.
The abuse of Sports Illustrated, the brand, and how it's crashing.
They're still around now.
Well, they are. And you know what's weird, Mike? They are owned by this company that also, by the way, owns the rights to make Elvis likenesses and commercials and stuff like that. It's the same company.
Did you hear about that poor kid?
Who, Austin, whatever?
You heard about him?
No, what happened?
He's making a movie. He can't get out of the accent.
Oh, yeah, you told me that the other day.
I guess he's dumb. An airline pilot? I don't. Oh, wait, no, I can't hear you.
I'm whispering. I don't believe it.
Why would he say that? He looks foolish almost.
I don't know.
But I was in the South for 2 months, and I started saying y'all after about a month. So, wait a minute. So I guess he's in the top, and they're going. You're supposed to say here, Austin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing soon. He goes, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in. He can't say a line straight.
So All right, Sal's giving
You
us
don't
news.
believe that?
I don't believe it. Sal's giving us news. I didn't know Chris Mortensen from ESPN passed away.
Yes, sir. He's going to be on Somebody Big Just Died.
I was going to say, he's not. Is he going to
Yeah,
be?
we were slow for a while, but it's picked up. Yeah, he's going to be on. I think.
Are you really going to do one on Chris Mortensen?
Oh hell yeah, he's a legend.
Okay.
He's another white guy. ESPN TV got rid of.
Exactly.
I don't know white guys. They got rid of Mortensen, Ed Werder, Jaworski, Boomer. You know, right? They got rid of them all.
Whatever.
Right. Wipe them out.
That's hilarious.
Then they hired Dan Norflowski and Stephen A. Smith.
Well, again, I don't understand why Sports Illustrated ran that magazine. I mean, listen, I know magazines don't sell anymore, but it could be a digital product. The brand is so strong, and was so important to sports for decades, and they drove it into the ground, and they're still going to use it in some weird branding thing. I just read they had a big Super Bowl party right after they announced everybody's getting laid off.
You want to ruin things? Do you really want to ruin things over the long run? You want to ruin sports radio or talk radio? Hire journalists. You want to ruin magazines and papers? Hire journalists. Because they're the most boring people on earth. And yet they think. For instance, I don't care how good you think Stephen Colbert is or Seth Meyers. They both went to Northwestern. The most boring people on earth. Okay? You talk to them, you want to take a nap while you're on there. But yet they got two from that boring state university, okay, doing shows that have driven into the ground. They had a below average show that like Gutfeld is beating them on cable, and it's so bad. And so I'm going to myself, bring back the TV shows like they used to have. Shaky and I. See, it's when you give somebody an opening, okay? Even the WGN morning show. Who's their competition? Oh, we're good. Who's your competition? It's nobody.
No, you're right.
Nobody. So
when it comes to that, you're right. But I give them. Go ahead.
I give them credit. But we'd all like to have a free pass without any competition. Although, I mean, I'm just being honest, John. They've been there.
Go ahead. I don't get to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, it's a city of 8 million. They have one morning show in the morning.
You're right, and it's honestly, I give GN credit for out of a 24-hour day, they spend like 16 hours a day doing local programming. They don't run judge shows. They do run a few reruns here and there, but honestly, like the combination of how many times they do newscasts and those magazine shows of just, hey, here's what's happening locally. Thank God GN is still doing it.
I'm their longest running employee. I was on Romper Room there when I was 5. I was on for a full week.
I was on Bozo when I was 5. Go ahead.
And I was on Bozo later on. It's not.
Were you really?
Yeah. But
awesome.
But I was in the stands. I didn't get the grand prize game.
Oh, I wasn't in. I didn't get to play the game, but it was.
But I was on Romper Room. I got pictures and everything. But it's not. See, GN's not the station. It was though. I mean, you had
no stations in the country.
I love the WGN morning news, but there's no competition for it. Just like there's not a lot of competition in radio anymore. So,
I agree with that. I agree with all that.
Yeah. I'd like to see just a couple more shows. Nothing against them, but I think they'd even like to see that because, like Steve Lombardo told me when they built Tavern on Rush, he goes, Steve, Gibson's is right here. He goes, oh, bring more people in. They'll bring more people around. And then they built Chili's in these other places. So that's what my point is.
That's hilarious. All right, Sal, by the way, his mom was a dispatcher at Flash Cab, and she got Bob Bell to get them tickets. That's fantastic. The great Bob Bell, the original Bozo, the real Bozo.
My Aunt May got me. She got me 2 gifts I remember fondly. One was the Bozo, and then she got me Romper Room too. But she also got me swimming lessons at the Spa Motel, which back in the 90s and 2000s was a brothel-like type of motel. But I went for swimming lessons in the 60s, almost drowned.
Were you of the embarrassing generation that at school, when you'd swim in the pool, you had to swim nude?
Yeah, that's why I went once. There's nothing like a January. You come back from the school store after lunch, you got to get in your, which I can't believe to this day, people all swam nude. I did it once.
Can you imagine that today? Are you kidding me? Good Lord.
Oh, there had to be some people that just enjoyed the hell out of it. Are you kidding me?
See, thank God, because I'm sure I would have had a complex.
didn't
if we
know.
ever did that. I understand. No, I understand. It was a different
Why are
time.
we getting naked and jumping in the pool, Coach? Go ahead.
Never mind. Never mind. Oh my God, Jesus! I'm telling you, man. No, that truly.
I hate pool so much. I told the nun. I saw the nun in second grade. I looked up at her. She looked at me. She goes, "Mr. North." I go, "This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work out." It was a torturous process just getting me to high school. Christ,
Jesus.
what a boring existence.
All right,
This
Sal
is
brings
6
up
hours.
the Apache Hotel.
Oh, I had a mixer there. Sigma. We had a mixer at the Apache with the
Nice.
girl.
Didn't the Apache have that like really tall antenna? So they
It
pull
had,
in
basically it said on they had a picture of a neon Indian. It said
Yes.
Apache Motel.
Oh yeah,
and it
sure.
said color TV.
But
Yeah.
didn't they? You know, when you couldn't, when they used to, if and I want to explain this to everybody that
The
doesn't.
Bears? No.
Yeah, when the Bears
Well,
didn't
they might
sell
have.
out Soldier Field, they would black out the games, so you
Yeah.
couldn't see them locally. But a couple of the motels around town would have really tall antennas,
Oh yeah.
so they could pull in the signal from Indianapolis or some other city. So was the Apache one of those?
I don't think so because my dad wouldn't have driven to Rockford.
Maybe.
or South.
All right, and Sal says maybe it was the Riverside I'm thinking of. I don't know. All right. Anyway, all right, that went nowhere. All right, there's a Bob Newhart.
Yes, Sal, quit putting the show into the dumpster with the what was the name of it? Riverside? The
Riverside.
Acres was the one. The Acres was the one all the mob guys hung out at.
Okay.
The Acres.
And yeah, and Sal used to bartend at Shadows and Eric's North, of course. Eric's North. You know, we were talking. You know, I had Hoffman on a couple weeks ago, George Hoffman, and George was one of the Sports Phone original reporters,
Right.
and that made me think of, remember Starbeat used to do the Starbeat dictaphone, and they would tell you what's happening at all the bars.
No.
Oh, they used to have commercials.
I don't, because you know what? I was always at the bar, so I never even.
That's probably true too.
I
But
mean,
if you
we
look
had
at it like
from Thorndale and Devon to Clark and Broadway at one point, there were 40 bars.
oh, I'm
40.
sure. Well,
40, in a mile-like area.
they
Now
would
that's never going to happen again.
they would run down, and I guess maybe the bars would give money to Starbeat to give the list of all the bars and what was going on. Hey, at Eric the Norris, don't forget it's short skirt high heels night, and Dr. Shazam has whatever going on.
Hurricanes and the Thirsty Whale. Used to hear
Thirsty
those.
Whale, sure.
WLS and the Nickel
Sure.
Bag, places like that. But we
See,
hung out.
Lee remembers Starbeat presents What's Happening.
I remember now. That's sort of like back when you see that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You see all the radio in LA.
That was the Chicago version of that. Yes,
right.
exactly. Hilarious. You're
Yeah.
killing me.
I know. I mean, all sorts of good stuff happened back then. Unfortunately, it's not what it was. I mean, the 90s when me and you were rolling it was an epic time. The 90s in Chicago. I'm sorry.
Sure.
It wasn't going to get any better. You could walk anywhere. I mean, do anything. It just was a good time. Now, you know, it's gotten worse, you know, than it should be. So hopefully,
Well, it's a different scene. That's okay. The scene's changed. That's all right.
Yeah, people are afraid to walk outside. It's not a different scene. Come on. It's a different scene.
I don't know, Mike. I got to tell you, as soon as when they started relaxing COVID,
Yeah,
man, the kids.
Well, I'm glad people are back, and they're opening up the offices again. But you know, it's just.
But nobody wants to go to the office.
Well, what happened is we lost our rhythm a little bit. You have 150, 200 years of rhythm, and that hits you, and then everybody has trouble coming back.
Sure.
And then a lot of other stuff like that.
Oh,
But,
that's legit. That's legit.
I quite frankly was thrilled with it because I stayed inside the whole time. I didn't have to go to nobody's funeral. I didn't have to do. I didn't have to go to weddings. I didn't have to go to a lot of obligations. I did my radio. I do it from home anyway. ESPN or the bar room or this. I'm in my basement. So I mean, it was heaven on earth to me. Oh, we can't get together for Christmas. I'm behind home. You know? Yeah.
I understand.
But then the sadness came in. Basically, now they're saying it's like the flu, which I knew all along, but that's okay.
Oh no, eventually, well, that what they said, herd immunity eventually does happen, and our systems get used to these viruses. But that said, it still has to get to a point of
Yeah.
getting to that herd immunity. It wasn't going to happen the next month, like
No.
some people were saying.
No.
I mean, it's like no, it's
I know guys that got the vax are terrified they got it now because a lot.
Yeah,
of
I
people,
know those people too. Whatever.
They're terrified they even got it. So we'll see what happens. People are dying in their sleep and all this other crap. But people died in their sleep before COVID. What difference does it make? You know,
South
I don't
says,
want a heart attack like Richard Lewis had in my sleep.
No, God forbid. Sal says he was home with the kids. It was like Shawshank Redemption.
No,
Yeah, it was.
I want to be able to struggle to the phone. I don't want to die in my sleep. You don't want a heart attack in your sleep. Oh, he went out so peacefully. No, he had no shot. You got
you gonna be Red Fox stumbling around? Exactly.
No, my dad sat in the chair for 20 minutes. You know,
bless him.
Waiting for the ambulance from Edgewater Hospital. That's why it's closed down now. But you know,
yeah.
people have heart attacks at home and they wait. Okay, that's why I said about this kid from the Buffalo Bills. They made a big deal about this kid because he had a heart attack on the field.
Yes,
you want it on the field. There's like 20 doctors there. They got him back. They said his heart stopped. Well, everybody's heart sort of stops when you have a heart attack, at least momentarily. My dad sat there, you know, like this. But he knew what was going on. It wasn't sleeping. So he could talk to us. So, yeah. You know, but in your sleep, just dying like that, no. You gotta keep your phone. You gotta.
I'll take that way. I'll take the sleep version. Thank you.
Oh shit.
No. I don't know, man.
My dad had 3 heart attacks. He lived to have 2 more. Come on. It's a you know what I mean? The doctor told him, watch what you eat. He got home from the doctor and 12 hard-boiled eggs. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. They didn't care back then.
No.
Our parents didn't give a damn. You think my dad went to the gym? My dad went to work. That's it. I'm going to go to the gym. I hear guys, I'm going to the gym at 10 o'clock. My dad was on his 4th hour of work by then, back in the day, right? Yeah. Come on.
No, I hear you.
It's a lot better now, and it's a lot worse now in some things. It's just the way everything else is, like you said.
We were talking old movies before we started, and I stopped you on a couple stories. I apologize because now I can't think of what the hell you were telling me.
No, who cares?
No, TCM lately, of course, 31 days.
Wait, no, I'll tell you the one I told you today, and you said, don't tell me till we get on. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes, we were talking about that. We both saw Lincoln on Saturday, which is a great movie. Spielberg directed it. He won the Best Actor Oscar for it. I love the movie. Go ahead. What's your Daniel Day-Lewis story? Go ahead.
I love Daniel Day-Lewis, first of all, but he's okay. I mean, he's not a guy that grips people to make to one. He's not a movie star. He's a great actor.
Yes,
I agree with that. He's not Kirk Douglas. He's not John Wayne, but he's a great actor. I think there's better actors than him. But for some reason, I think Paul Muni, who people may not even know,
Paul Muni,
was as good an actor as Daniel Day-Lewis, in my opinion.
Oh, I have no problem with that. Yeah. That's a good comparison.
I think he was outstanding. People, if you ever get a chance to see any of his work, I suggest you do that. He's that type of actor. But
very much like Daniel Day-Lewis in terms of he became the characters that he portrayed because he did Emile Zola, but he also did Scarface.
Right.
And he, Angel on My Shoulder. He played a great gangster.
And he was not he didn't want to be a big movie star like Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, he was a stage actor.
Yeah, I want to be left alone. I don't want to go on any shows.
That's a good comparison. Very good comparison. And so what's your Daniel Day-Lewis
Me and Knuckles and Louie and my brother Dave, a few other guys were out drinking in New York the night before. We were in town.
Okay, all right.
And for the Ellis Island Award, I think it was. And we stayed at the San Moritz across the street from Central Park. Louie calls me about 9:30 because I'm hurting. I go, I'm hurting too, man. Let's go across the street and get some of the guys, go sit in the park and just relax because it was a summer day. So we go sit on these long benches they have along Central Park. You've seen them in movies.
Of course.
So we're sitting there. And I'm always amazed by Central Park. The number of people. If you're a people watcher, there's nothing better than Central Park. I think, Shaky, you and I have been there. I mean,
100% we were there.
Yeah, we were there. So here comes a guy running. And Louis so hungover, but he goes, holy Christ. The guy's like 30 yards away still. But he's tall. and he's really thin,
Yeah.
really thin. I go, what? He goes, that's Daniel Day-Lewis. I go, Knuckles, get the fuck out of here. You know, and I'm going, yeah, what are you nuts? And he comes running right by us, and Louis goes, hey, Daniel, and he goes, and he stops, and he's got a stocking cap on. I go, he goes, hey, how you guys doing? Hey, Louis says, I forget what was the movie he made? There Will Be Blood or something? No, this was way before. No, The Boxer. This was way before.
I love The Boxer. He's great in The Boxer.
Hey, I loved you in that movie, The Boxer. Hey, thanks, guys. And he kept running. And Louis recognized him, and the guy was like 170 pounds, like was in Lincoln.
Oh, no, he's
like 6'5", about 180. He's his Lincoln.
Whippet. Yeah, he's a whip. That's why he was perfect for Lincoln.
Yeah, he was. Look, I'm a Raymond Massey guy. I mean,
Raymond Massey was a great Lincoln. So was Henry Fonda.
I don't like when they start saying this guy's the greatest ever. You know, like Tiger's the greatest ever when Jack had 18 majors. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
Raymond Massey was masterful. Don't you think?
No, I listen. I love Massey. Like I said, I loved Hank Fonda as young Mr. Lincoln.
Hank Fonda. I like how we say Hank Fonda.
Because we're tight.
Bob Mitchum,
Hank Fonda, Jim Stewart.
But no, he was I liked him. His movies sometimes drag.
Well, There Will Be Blood is painful to watch. Painful to watch. I mean, and it's a brilliant performance, but it's like you could cut an hour out of There Would Be.
Oh my God! How many times are you gonna crap on the kid? The kid.
I'm drinking your milkshake. I'm finished. I love the last line of the movie. Beats the hell out of Paul Dano. I'm finished. That is the best. That is one of the more satisfying endings to that movie because he does. To this day, Paul Dano just bugs me, and that's one of the reasons
why. Milkshake. Say that again. I'm drinking your milkshake. I'm drinking it all down.
Stanley wants to know who we think the best Oscar hosts ever were.
Bob Hope.
Oh, honestly, listen, I know he's the man.
Bob Hope.
Well, he always was for decades.
He did it every year. The other guy's been fired in 2 days.
I'm going with Carson. I think Carson was better.
Bad.
I think Carson. Although I don't know who wrote the line for him, but Hope's like, well, it's Oscar night again, or in my house, we call it Passover. And I'm like, that was a good joke. That was
it was such a tough job, and Hope did it effortlessly. That's what I like. Carson was good too. See how that's how it is now. You see,
and that one, no.
Hey, what are you talking about?
I think, honestly, I think Kimmel will do fine because Kimmel is just naturally funny. He's doing it this year.
He was. He was funnier with the Man Show. I loved him.
I like his talk show, but I like the Man Show.
He can't even beat Gutfeld, so that's a problem. Whatever. I can't believe these guys can't beat that guy. Well, don't give me the whatever. That's the new usual answer when I bring up a good point. How can you not be? How can you be on that network? Who sucks?
Gutfeld.
I know. That's my point. You're missing it. You can't.
Okay.
You can't even beat.
All right. I don't know. I mean, I know Gutfeld is beating all the other cable stations. I don't know what the networks are. I believe you. I believe you.
And Seth Meyers. I wouldn't say.
I like Seth Meyers.
But who do you like him compared to back when you watched before?
Oh, no. Mike, late night talk.
It's dead.
It is. It's over. It's over. Nobody told these guys. I love Colbert. I think Colbert's very talented, but it's over. It's over.
I think that these guys, like somebody said the other day when Seth Meyers went for ice, look, he's not a good interviewer. He's a comedian. Just leave the guy alone. Nobody takes him seriously. And you know what? I just love the fact that it's two Northwestern guys. They're the most boring people on earth. I think my God. I mean, the campus. I think when somebody shoots off a cap gun, people have fun. I don't understand that campus at all.
Well, wait a minute. Let's go back to the Oscar host for a second because
Bob Hope.
No. This is here. Let me put out my theory. Because we've seen it recently with other award shows, the Golden Globes and the Emmys and all that. Because I noticed this in the 90s, Mike, when they created the ESPYs. Athletes and Hollywood A-listers, they can't take a joke.
No.
They are just nose in the air. How dare you make fun of me? And it's like, and that's why I'll be curious to see how Kimmel does. When these guys complain, hey, I just got the job 2 weeks ago. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up and do the goddamn job.
Do
And
the
the
show
same
and
with-
run.
even the guy that got canceled and was on Saturday Night Live a couple weeks ago, Shane Gillis. And he's like, well, you're not laughing at my jokes. Hey, shut up.
You know what?
Just shut up and do the
Can I
jokes.
tell you
Don't get
about
mad.
him? I want to tell you about him. If he
Shane
was
Gillis?
that funny,
Shane Gillis? Tell
Yeah.
me.
I'll name you 50 guys funnier than him in the time I've been alive.
He, with a drop of a hat. Are you kidding? 1,000 guys funny.
Yeah.
I'm
What are
sorry,
they
and
talking about?
The guy, well, Mike, maybe we're too
What
old.
are they talking about?
I think kids, something. I know this with my nephews, Mike. There was that kid, Andy Milanakis, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
My nephews were busting a gut watching that kid, and I'm like, I don't think he's
No.
funny.
I want to just talk about this guy because
Please.
I heard he got fired and this and that, and I was so I'm saying to myself, well, who's he funnier than? He's not funnier than Chappelle. I'm even
He's
the
not
guy
funny.
today. He's not
Bill
funnier.
Burr.
He's
He's
not
not
funnier
funny
than
than Bill Burr.
No, he's not funnier than Maniscalco by
I
a
agree
long
with that
time.
too.
He's
I
not
agree.
funnier than any of these guys. So where the hell does this
Yeah, but
guy?
he's like Dane Cook was 20 years ago.
Okay.
He's selling out stadiums, man. So
And
somebody's
he'll
like,
do that for a short time. He'll do it for a short time, like Dane Cook did.
Maybe.
But I'm talking about legends. I don't
Oh,
think
no, I
he'll be
agree.
a legend.
I agree.
I don't think he'll. I mean, to me, she's back in the day. The competition was so stiff because you can't name 10 funny guys now. You can't. Back then, the competition was so
It's certainly
stiff.
harder. It's certainly hard.
Well, Norm Crosby might have been the 20th funniest guy, and he'd probably be a top 5 today.
I don't know about
Norm Crosby lasted decades, and he did some funny stuff. But I said 20th. You weren't willing to give him that. What would you give Shane Gillis with those guys back then? 50th, 100th?
Oh no,
Yeah,
he'd be in the audience wishing he was on stage.
He doesn't move the needle for me. I'm watching the guy. Young guys move the needle
Mike,
for me.
he sucked. That was a golden opportunity. I've been yelling about this for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, I buy what you're saying.
It was a golden opportunity to bring in more of a mainstream audience and
Right.
go, because who is this guy? He was canceled. Oh, and they're bringing him back. Oh my God. And he half-assed his monologue.
Right.
And even the sketches were not that funny.
No.
And it's like, way to go, dumbass.
Yeah.
Go back. And I'm sure he's like, all right, fine, I'll go back and keep making money. I mean,
that's
and there are
right.
other.
You know what? Nobody likes. Look, he got fired, so he came back as the triumphant guy, the guy that's going to come back, but drop 3 passes in the end zone.
Yes,
So
yes.
That's what he did. I came back and showed people what I could do, but when I did, I dropped the ball. I didn't find anything appealing with him. I mean, I go back to guys that people just don't know about. They were craftsmen, Allen and Rossi, Wayne and Schuster. And I got to listen to that. Even those guys were B guys. Well, Allen and Rossi were B guys, but they were funny in some ways, you know?
We'll even keep it modern. Chappelle, when he does his monologues on SNL, he gives a shit and he hones the thing. Just like Albert Brooks and Steve Martin, when they used to be on the Tonight Show, and they would prepare for months.
Yep.
Because they knew they were coming up on Johnny, and it's like, all right, I got 6 minutes. I got to be funny. So they prep. And I felt like Shane Gillis was pitching underhand, And it's like, dude, take it seriously and try.
He actually made me think this is why they fired you. That's what I thought. Eddie Murphy came back to Saturday Night Live. That was humongous. There's no comparison. I mean, Belushi came back. They all came back.
Nah, Belushi never came back. He never came back.
Who did?
Because he went off and was doing movies, and then he died.
Did Chevy come back? Yeah, Chevy came back.
Chevy came back. Aykroyd came back many times.
Yeah, they act like these guys didn't come back. That this guy's something special. He didn't last 10 minutes.
It was terrible.
That's it.
It was terrible. I don't know. This season, next year's their 50th anniversary, Saturday Night Live.
I haven't watched except those certain cuts and stuff.
This season is horrible. They have 20 cast members.
Yeah,
20. That's ridiculous. And I
Because
heard,
they can't find 10 worth a damn.
I guess I listen to Carvey and David Spade's podcast every week, and they just had Bill Simmons on. You know Bill Simmons, the podcaster, and Simmons is a massive SNL fan, and he said it too. He's like, too many cast members, and he's like, no disrespect to anybody specifically, but there's just too many. And Carvey goes, when I was again, if you include, they have these 3 writers that they give a film piece to every week. Please Don't Destroy is the name of the 3 writers. But the Carvey was saying, so they have 20 cast members if you include them and the Weekend Update guys and everybody else. Carvey goes, when I was on SNL, we had 7 cast members.
They had
7.
And that was, I don't know what's happened in the entertainment business, but it just doesn't have the pizzazz right now that it once did. I mean, there's no juice. I mean, there's no juice. There's
no sizzle, no juice. You're right. I agree.
And hopefully we'll get into more imaginative and creative people's hands. And I think even some creative people have gotten a little bit lazy, and they got thrown back from COVID or from what happened there.
There's good sketch comedy happening. It's just not happening on SNL.
The best comedy is Curb Your Enthusiasm. I mean,
killing it.
He throws in a little Marx Brothers in his routine. He's got some bits that he does from the olden days, from people that he's borrowed from that people don't realize now. I do. I've seen all the movies. He did some Marx Brothers stuff with Richard Lewis the other night. With the third one, I just knew. He also borrowed a line from 5 Easy Pieces about to leave out the. So he does borrow, but he's so good. So timely.
Who's great on that is Tracy Ullman.
The best.
The most playing the most disgusting person in the world. And I give her so much credit, man. She is brilliant. She really is brilliant.
So is Susie Essman. Jeff Garland is
fantastic.
Jeff Garland's a lucky man.
Chicago's own Jeff Garland.
I love Jeff, but Jeff is one of these guys. He plays the dour neighbor. He does it right. He's just a regular. Gets mad, very short.
Funny as hell.
Yeah, I think that they have a great ensemble. I like Mary Tyler Moore had that ensemble back in the day, or Andy Griffith. That's what these guys. They get the bit from the outside sources in their ensemble, which is excellent.
Yeah, it's like Jack Benny. I was just talking about this the other day, where it's like Jack Benny had these great supporting characters, and and he was great. And like, oh no, give that line to Dennis. That's funnier. Give it to somebody else. And everyone's like, why are you giving away your jokes? He's like, the name of the show is Jack Benny. I'll get my credit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, he was good Sunday nights. I mean, they had. He was one of those comedians though that wouldn't go today. He wouldn't make it today. I think.
Well, I don't know, Mike, because he was subtle, and I think
cut that out. I don't know if that would go today. I don't know.
Well, I think he would.
Pride and joy of Waukegan.
He is the pride and joy of Waukegan. You're right about that.
Waukegan, Illinois.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think some guys wouldn't go today. Some guys today certainly wouldn't have gone back then. I saw that you played. I saw Freddie Prinze, Chico and the Man. I saw him at Mr. Kelly's.
Yes, Mike. Remember when we got to tell the story when Tony Orlando was playing at one of the at the Hollywood Casino, and for people who don't know, Tony Orlando and Freddie Prinze were like best friends.
They were best friends.
And when Freddie Prinze killed himself, it really messed Tony Orlando up for like a year.
Yeah.
And he was
selfish.
Really big.
He told us he was selfish. The Tony Orlando one's the best. He comes on the air with us after we had seen him at Hollywood Casino. We had him on the. Jesse goes, I got him on the air, and we're gonna get him on. Okay, he comes on the air, and I said, if you ever saying take me out to the ball game, at the Cub game, and he goes, no, they've never asked.
Well, and he
called McDonough, and he came.
Well, he just said, can you get us tickets? And you're like, get you tickets? You should be singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And he's like, because they would, for people who don't know, in honor of Harry Carey, they would have celebrities do "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," but they would also have like the Boy Scouts or the Campfire Girls, whatever. So yeah, he's like, get you Cub tickets, and immediately Jesse and you called John McDonough, who at the time was the marketing guy of the Cubs.
And
it's like, hey, who do you got on Sunday? the boys club or the
Yeah.
Boy Scouts or
The
whatever.
Loyola Muff Divers Club or something like
Yeah,
that.
and it's
you
like,
know.
and it's like, hey, you want Tony Orlando? And it's like, yeah, of course we do. Goodbye, boys club. Goodbye.
Yeah, and we got
So-
yeah, yeah.
And
And,
he was
he
so
did it for like
thrilled.
15 years. He did it after that for 15 years with them. Every
It was
year he
amazing.
did it. And
It was
Jesse and I and you, we said, let's go. You got Tony Orlando in town.
I brought a CD of Tony Orlando and Don's greatest hits.
Oh,
That and also mentioning
You know.
Freddie,
who
uh,
am I?
we XRT, the rock station that was our sister station.
Yep.
They had an amazing music library, just great vinyl, and not only music but also comedy. And I found Freddie Prinze's album that was recorded at Mr. Kelly's in Chicago,
Yeah.
and we showed it to Tony, and he's like, "Can I have this?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "Well, it's not ours to give; it's the other
Yeah,
station."
yeah.
So I went to Norm. We're like, "Hey, is it okay?" And he's like, "Of course, let him have it. Let
Then
him
we
have
did
it."
the one, we took Rip Torn to the ball game, to the Bulls game. Rip Torn's a guest, and he goes, you know what I'd really, everybody back then, you know what I'd really like to do? And I go, what? I like to go see Michael Jordan. Well, everybody did. I mean, Madonna, you name it. That was as big as the Staples Centers back in Showtime.
Oh, it was
huge.
yeah. It was a national ticket, and it was happening here in Chicago.
And after the game, we went to the Skybox and we're watching, and we got lit up like Christmas trees afterwards at Gibson's. We closed the joint. And we're talking. And I go, hey, you know what you were great in? What's that, Mike? I go, Summer Rental.
Summer Rental.
You like that movie? I go, then Shaky goes, yeah, that movie's great. I just thought that was a movie that I just didn't. No,
in that great Riptoid voice. Nobody talks to me about this movie. I'm happy to tell you.
I go, Scully's Catch of the Day. You remember that?
Him and John Candy, and I mean, I'm talking about Cincinnati Kid, Sweet Murder Youth, all of his classics, and you're like Summer Rental.
How about Summer Rental? John Candy? Are you kidding
Scully's
me?
Catch of the Day.
With some fresh grouper. I mean, so we're doing it, and then we dropped him off at the hotel. We had to help him in the joint. And then I'm reading up about him in Wikipedia now that he's gone. I read about him about 2 weeks ago. We didn't help much. He was a complete.
I was going to say, sadly, I think we could.
From the early '60s.
We were enablers, sadly.
We were enablers that night, man.
To his issues. No, I understand.
And then Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, that one was great. He goes, yes. I go to Gibson's. I'm in there. And bartender goes, you know who's over there? I go, who? Joe Nate says to me, Keanu Reeves. I go, where? So I go, oh. So then this guy, here's his buddy coming over here. Hey, Joe. His name was Joe Esposito, unbelievable, just like the one that managed Elvis, but it was a different one. He goes, how you doing? This is Mike Noy. Yeah, I do. He does radio and stuff. You do radio? Yeah. Well, I'm Keanu Reeves' assistant. I go, can we go to a Bull game? I go, yeah. You want to go to the Bull game? He goes, well, let me introduce you to Keanu. So I go over to the, hey, man, greatest guy in the world, first of all.
That's cool. That's what I hear.
Unbelievable. Hey, Mike, how you doing? It's really nice here. I appreciate you coming by. Hey, what's going on? I go, well, I hear you want to go to the book. Oh, I'd like to see Michael Jordan. This is how he like he talks. Really? I mean, smooth.
All right.
I go, yeah.
No, go ahead.
I go, okay. Well, here's what you got to do. You got to go to the station tomorrow to do an interview with me at 10 o'clock. I start at 10. You get there about 10:30. I got a better idea, man. Why don't I go to the game and I'll do the interview after? I go, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That ain't going to work.
Nice
You
try.
want the tickets, you better come tomorrow at 10:30. All of a sudden, I hear the kids from Foreman High School are running out. There's limo outside. And I look, and in the window, remember the square window of the studio? There he is. He did a half an hour. He was great. We went to the game that night. It was outstanding. Hey, man, thanks a lot. He was just like that, Ted, Bill and Ted. He was just like that guy, only a sweet guy, a really good guy.
All right, now I got a good guy and a not so good guy, and they were together.
Oh,
Adam Sandler was a prince, and David Spade was a jerk. And I would
Oh,
use
yeah.
worse language. But yes, you remember they took a photo with the guys,
yeah.
and you could see Spade was flipping off the camera.
Oh, yeah.
And had that look at us. And it's like, you jerk.
Well, see, that's what I loved about Richard Lewis and the Adam Sandler. They come to play. They give you the. I interviewed Richard Lewis at the Plaza in New York when we went to the playoffs with the Bulls. We give him a styrofoam cup of coffee when he goes, "This is it," and just funny from the get go. David Spade was a jerk, but we were jerky to him too. Then, what a little wise ass he was. I love it.
But Mathau was
was great.
amazing. Mathau was in town filming Dennis the Menace.
Oh,
And he came to the station, was one of the first big celebrities to come to the station.
I said, we had dinner, me and Doug, because the Teamsters were driving around. He was doing Dennis the Menace. And the Teamster said, we can get him for the Doug Buffone Sport magazine. And so me and Doug are waiting, and here comes Walter Matthau. And he goes, I want you to know this. I'm doing Dennis the Menace because I'm down to the book 6 figures.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
he told
He owed the book his money. Yes.
So if you want to get any deep detail about how good Dennis the Menace movie is, I'm not the guy you should ask. We ate dinner with the guy. He did the show with us. We had no phones back then. That took
No.
pictures.
Oh no, we blew it.
And I to this day, but we found the interview. Me and B.
Oh,
found
that's
the
great, Michael. I'm really happy for you.
We're gonna
Really?
put it on.
Oh, that's good.
The Walter Matthau audio. BB found
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
that's
of course.
the score. But he told me, he goes, any movie you see me in now is really because I'm paying off gambling debts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, seriously, he was betting like he told me he bet 10,
Yeah, he was a
50 grand.
compulsive gambler. Yeah, he
A
was a
big
compulsive
time
gambler.
gambler.
One of my favorite in studio guests, and I got to play with him on the air, was the great Shecky Green. And that blew my mind because, again, I grew up watching him on all the variety shows. And a Chicago guy, another great Chicago man.
Sullivan High School, Danny Lee's alma mater. And I saw him at a restaurant called Ashkenaz when I picked paper. It was on Morris and Glenwood. I picked paper for the Park District. And I went into this Ashkenaz. It's a deli. It's gone now. But somebody goes, hey, Mike, because I used to go there into Kmar's, which was another restaurant.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Mike, Shecky Green's over there. I go, get them. I go over there and I sit right next to him. I go, hey, Shecky Green. He goes, hey, how you doing? I go, you're back in the neighborhood. Oh, yeah, I got to go back to California soon, but I live in Vegas too and do this and I do that. I seen you at the OTB a couple times. Yeah, I've been having a little luck there lately. I go, listen, man, I want to know. He goes, well, what do you do? I go, I pick paper and I rake leaves and stuff for the Park District. I go, I want to know, I mean, what's the best way if you want to get into pictures or anything in Hollywood? What's the best way to be discovered? Go pick paper at Paramount. Go rake the leaves at Paramount. Maybe don't notice you there. That's what the guy told me. It was great. I mean,
I was going to say I don't think we've ever talked on the air about how you were in acting classes.
Yeah.
And I tell people who ran.
Well, I
this-
go to acting. I mean, I go to this. I get home from the service and I got my GED. So now I got to figure out how to get that $400 a month of the VA money. I don't want to really go to school right away. And I eventually went to Truman and got the money anyway. But for the first year that I was out, I didn't want to go to school. I joined a theater company called the St. Nicholas Theater Company, which was on the second floor of the Body Politic building, which was just down the street from the Biograph Theater. Okay. It was on the second floor. It's a white building. I went into this, and there was a row of seats, the desks that you have, you sit in. There was like 30 people in there. And, I always wanted to be the next Steve McQueen. And I found out quickly that was never going to happen. But my teacher was David Mamet. And I can say I got taught acting by David Mamet. And the assistant instructor and founder was William Macy.
William H. Macy, absolutely.
who I look at fondly.
Great
When
actor.
I see Seabiscuit and I see all these movies,
Sure.
Argo, I go, this guy was actually telling us how to be how he was going to end up being.
Yeah.
Because he was
Yeah.
nobody.
Right.
William Peterson
Billy Peterson, absolutely.
became
A guy we can call Billy because we knew him. Absolutely.
right.
Man.
Love him. Haven't seen him. Don't know what's happened to him, but I haven't seen him for years. I remember him fondly. Amy Madigan. I mean, all these people I got to know, and they would come in and teach. And I remember I had to do an improvisational type of thing at the train station with a girl that I didn't know. David Mamet goes, go do some improv. And I was horrible. It was in front of the whole class. All right, go sit down.
Who was the girl?
Everybody, I sucked, and but so did most of them. It just taught you,
Sure.
this is not an easy business, man. And then I did a movie called East of Eden with some good people. I was in the movie with Bridget Wilson, who did Scent of a Woman. And I was the guy that was in Reno 911.
Yeah, Reno 911.
It's called Eden Court. If you look at it, I play Otto the liquor salesman, and I was just okay. I mean, I know when I'm set to do. My uncle tells me you were built to do sports radio. I go, yeah, I don't think I was built to be an actor. It's the memorizing of the lines to me, and the way these guys are, like Chaz Palminteri told me, who I'm big friends with. I go, God, Chaz, acting is tough, man, but he goes, well, that's why there's professionals.
Right.
And that's what he basically told me.
Sure.
You're trying to get into my deal, and that's true.
But Mike, also, as you know, because and I know I've had this conversation with regular people, like I could do what you do, and I could do radio, and I'm like, try and talk nonstop for 4 hours, 5 days a week, and do it in February and do it in July. Those tough months when nothing after the Super Bowl, when nothing's going on, or in the middle of summer, and we're months away from the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you got to think of something interesting to say for 4 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah, I think that to me is one of the great achievements. But I think that Danny Lee, when he said to me, because I had a 3-hour interview with him, because we're going to be resuming our Raging Bull episodes 3 and 4 in a couple weeks is going to be done, and it's going to be on the score years. And Danny Lee is quoted as saying Mike North never had an off month, never had an off season. He was ready. He knew what was going on in July. He knew and he goes, I can't say the same for everybody else, but everybody else was great too. He said they were strong at what they did, but he said, well, he said he liked me because I didn't have an agent too. Danny never had to deal with agents when he had XRT. So all of a sudden, these guys come in with agents, and it was a whole new world, but it was a great world, John. We lived a great time. The score will never be what it was. I don't think anything nowadays is what it was.
No.
I don't think movies are what they were.
No.
I watch movies from the 40s and 50s that people today have no fathom about how to even write them, what a conversation would be like. I mean, some of the movies you see, the people that wrote them were geniuses. Even the bad movies. I mean, my God, I watched that Magnificent Ambersons. It was a bust. The movie, the Magnificent Ambersons.
Orson Welles, yeah.
It came out during the war years. It was about a turn of the century people that lived life. But Joseph Cotton was in it. Orson Welles.
Wasn't Anne Francis the girl?
Agnes Moorehead.
Moorehead, absolutely.
Was in it. So Tim Holt, who I love.
Tim Holt was fantastic in it.
How underrated is Tim Holt?
Very.
As a cowboy.
Much like Ben Johnson a couple decades later, who's in The Last Picture Show. But other than that, all he did was Westerns and didn't want to do that movie, The Last Picture Show, and was amazing in it. And, had to be convinced by guys like Orson Welles who were like, will you quit being an idiot? Peter Bogdanovich is offering you the role of a lifetime. Do this goddamn movie.
Well, like, I mean, I look at these movies and I see Audie Murphy. I love Audie Murphy because he's a hero.
Well,
Audie
yeah,
Murphy.
he was a hero first and then became a movie.
Yeah, and then he goes, guess what? I'll play Cowboys and Indians. And he was good. And I see they got their training. Now, a lot of these people, I watch all the Western channels. I watch the Virginian. I watch the Rifleman. You know, me and my buddies get together. There's 12 or 13 of us still that were born in the early they were born in the 50s. We're in our 70, 71, 69, 70, 71. We all still watch the Rifleman. All of us since we were kids.
Well, Mike,
they get old.
32 or 39 episodes.
39 episodes.
And it had to be good every week. It had to be good. I mean, well, and you know, a lot of those, I'm always fascinated by Maverick because it started with James Garner.
James Garner.
And it became such a hit so fast, they couldn't even keep up the production schedule. Right. So that's why they introduced Jack Kelly as his brother.
And Roger Moore later. And Roger Moore
later, absolutely. And Robert, I can't think of his name, but he was
Kelly, James Gardner,
Roger
Moore. I forget the last guy.
Yeah, Robert Coltrane, I want to say, because he was on the time tunnel with Jimmy Darren afterwards.
You know who I loved? Hugh O'Brien and Wyatt Earp.
Oh, come on.
He had the guns.
One of the best.
He had guns.
I loved when he was in Twins, and he was one of the donors. And he had Schwarzenegger was like, dead. It was Hugh O'Brien.
That guy's a tough guy to figure out. His whole thing, his whole career is tough to figure out.
Schwarzenegger or Hugh O'Brien?
Hugh O'Brien.
Why is it tough to figure out?
Well, he's a lifelong bachelor. He'd show up and do some wonderful things and disappear. He was very involved in, I guess, Boys Clubs of America. He wasn't married just to the movies, you know. But he had that. But Wyatt Earp is remembered to this day.
Oh, it's a great show.
And then Clayton Moore went to SED.
The great Clayton Moore, the Lone Ranger. My God.
The Lone Ranger, my God.
I met him when I was a little kid. And I'm convinced that's why I'm so into comic books and superheroes still, because I met the Lone Ranger.
Hey.
And he had the mask and he had the blue outfit on and the white hat.
You remember when they made him,
it's the Lone Ranger.
Do you remember when they made him take the mask off and
wear the cape? Oh, it was.
You know how bitter I was about that? You know how pissed off everybody was about that? They made the Lone Ranger wear sunglasses. Are you kidding me? That was brutal, man. And I was also very upset when George Reeves killed himself. I was really.
Oh, come on. Absolutely.
I was in second grade. I remember that. I remember it on the radio.
Yeah.
I think 59, I was 7, 8. I start remembering things. I remember when Gary Cooper, my mom crying because Gary Cooper died in 1961. I said, I always thought she was talking about Jackie Cooper. I didn't know who Gary Cooper was at that time, you know.
Mentioning George Reeves, you know what they were going to do? And I got this from the people who knew all the behind the scenes stuff. For a minute, they wanted to keep the show going, but focus on Jimmy Olsen and do new scenes with Jimmy, but then they would cut old scenes of George Reeves and kind of combine them into new episodes. And Jack Larson, the guy who played Jimmy Olsen, is like, are you people ghouls? What's wrong with you? No, not interested.
He was a decent guy.
Yeah. I love that he was in Superman Returns.
Yeah,
the Brandon Routh Superman movie, and he played the old bartender. And also he was on the 90s, the Dean Cain Superman show with Terry Hatcher. They had an episode where a guy aged Jimmy Olsen, and they let Jack Larson play him as an old man. And it was like, oh my God, Jack Larson's Jimmy Olsen again.
You know what I always wonder, though? Guys like him starved a lot, too. I mean,
you know, well, he had to reinvent himself out of Hollywood. But he went to New York, and he became a stage actor and a playwright. So he did okay.
They have to end up directing or doing something. I mean, look at Penny Marshall, for God's sake. Look at how great she ended up.
Well, God bless her. Absolutely. She had a great career. You know, Mike, do you remember that movie just a couple of years ago, Michael Keaton, that Birdman movie?
Yes. I didn't like it.
Well, I liked it enough, but what my problem with the movie was they were saying, oh, you know, he made all these superhero movies, so people won't take him seriously as an actor. And I'm like, That was a 90s problem.
Yeah, come on.
Robert Downey Jr. doesn't have that trouble. Christian
No.
Bale doesn't have that trouble. I'm like, no, and that's why I didn't buy the premise of the
Michael
movie.
Keaton is one of the great. Michael Keaton played Stumpy on Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that.
No. Are you thinking of? Is that Michael J. Fox that was Stumpy?
No.
Oh, I remember Michael Keaton on Curb. Yes, I do.
Yes, with that other guy that was on Saturday Night Live, but he played Stumpy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
but I know he was on Curb. You're right. He was
That's
on.
the one where what's her name? Goldie Hawn's daughter, Hudson.
Oh yeah,
Kate
I love
Hudson.
her. Yeah, Kate Hudson's great.
But Michael Keaton, when I'll never forget, I think half the population didn't think he'd be a good Batman.
Oh, good Lord, Mike, you're right. No, we talk about the nerds talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
because even without the internet,
yeah,
every fan magazine,
they buried him.
Well, we're like, what the hell? Are you, Mr. Mom is going to be Batman? And he was amazing. He's
still the best, I think.
Oh God, he's the only good thing about that Flash movie from last summer, and it's like, oh God, and you forget how much you missed him. And it's like, oh man, he was so.
I don't care. I love Val Kilmer.
Sure.
Val Kilmer was great in his own genre. He should have won an Academy Award for Tombstone. I don't give a damn
who
the supporting actor was. Nobody was better than him.
I agree with you.
And then you see George Clooney, who to me is just an overrated hack. I'm sorry.
Listen, that movie was not Clooney's fault. He takes the blame all the time, which is ridiculous.
Well,
it was a bad movie.
But he's the star. You know.
Yeah, but Mike, sometimes listen, I have massive problems with the modern Star Trek shows. That said, it's not the actor's fault. It's always, in fact, to quote Woody Allen,
I'm going to tell you, Sean,
it's always the writing.
With all due respect, and you know your movies.
What?
If George Clooney had a string of hits like Robert Mitchum, then I wouldn't say it was his
fault. Oh, Clooney has had more than enough
hits. He's nothing compared to he's a TV star.
You can't compare any of the modern actors to the old Hollywood people. It was a different time. It was.
John, George Clooney, nowadays, I mean, he was given some pretty strong vehicles. He made some bad, even people said he's made some bad decisions.
But everybody has bad movies in their
but he's had a string. I mean, maybe it's the type of movies he makes that doesn't connect with the overall public. I liked him in the Coen Brothers movie, the one where he plays Hail Caesar. I loved him in
Hail Caesar or Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
But there's movies that I think a movie star, which he is, I think he tried to be he should have stuck with the American type Cary Grant role. And I think he tried to do too many things. I think he did.
Yeah,
that old brother's out there. I can't. I see it. I go, do I want to sit through that again? Do I want to see it?
I like that movie. I think it's funny.
Well, you like him. Up in the Air was one of his better movies.
Up in the Air is a great movie.
I like him in that. I'll give him, but I'm not going.
Movies were great.
I will not, under your extreme pressure, like him. I think he's overrated. I thought Ocean's 11. I like the original. I'm old school.
Oh, good Lord. I love the original as well. That's a great movie. But there's a version where they do a remake and they make it different enough. And also they conform to the actors in it rather than trying to be the Rat Pack again.
You know who's the best in that movie? Carl Reiner.
Carl Reiner. Absolutely he was. No, he was amazing.
Amazing, man. Movies are the best. And TV. Where would we be without TV? I watch these westerns.
Well,
I go, how the hell can people live back then? And Beebe says to me, that's what they thought at the time was the best they could do. You know, I go, God, brutal.
Right now, and again, back to what I thought we'd talk a little more about, but it's okay. Yeah. I love where the conversation's gone. But television is eating the movie industry's lunch as far as superior product. We're getting great television and have been since The Sopranos.
Yeah.
We've been getting exceptional television, whereas movies don't know what the hell to do with themselves.
I'm going to give everybody I want to
There's-
give everybody a message.
Go ahead.
I think it's important. I don't give a shit what you're watching. The White Lotus or any of these other HBO movies or shows. Dream
Yeah.
On was great back in the day.
Oh, I love Dream.
Watch them all. There'll never be another Sopranos. Ever.
Oh no, absolutely.
They are auctioning the booth at Holstein's. The final, they're auction. Do you know that the top today, the top bid was 80 grand? That should be in the Smithsonian Institute, that booth.
That should be in the Smithsonian.
It should be in a museum. Not in my house if I have enough money, in the basement where
Or at
Tony
the-
Soprano.
At the very least, one of the
Look
at the very.
look it up, Shake.
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to like find out what the current bid
Find
is?
out where the bidding's at Holstein's.
I don't. I kind of don't give a shit. But
I know. The
No, what I was
Sopranos- The Sopranos is my favorite show of all time. I watch it when they do the marathon thing. I don't leave. I don't get up.
Stanley wants to know who we think the best current director is. I think Christopher Nolan. I'd vote for Christopher Nolan. I think he's. I think when you go through his whole.
Stallone.
Well, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Scorsese is still the man.
Yeah. Wait a minute. And I got to tell you something. My wife didn't know this. John Ford. We've been watching John Ford movies. She's like this.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Gee, the guy won 4 Academy. He won more than anybody.
And not just great westerns, but also
How Green Is My Valley.
How Green Is My Valley, but also whatchamacallit, the one with Spencer Tracy when he's the mayor.
Oh, the
God
big,
damn it.
the
God
big.
damn it.
I forget the last hurrah, the big hurrah.
Yeah, the last hurrah. You got it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got it.
Spencer Tracy's great. It's a Mayor Daley type of guy.
Yeah, machine politics, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, where machine politics is. Oh, aren't they cute?
Yeah.
I'm going to
gotta
fix
tell
the
you,
word.
John Ford, I'm amazed at him that The Quiet Man was doomed. They said it will never be made. And if you listen to Maureen O'Hara tell the story, she says they had to make, in order to make The Quiet Man, they had to make a movie called The Rio Grande with John Wayne, a Western first. They said, if you make this Western, then you can make this silly Irish picture that will never make it. And they made it. And John Ford just knows how to construct a story, the right music at the right time.
Oh, yeah.
The right timing. The
right
guy
path.
comes across as a pain in the ass. He's gruff. He's tough. But man, he makes some of the sweetest movies, man. And Donald Crisp is one of our favorites. You like a Donald Crisp? Me and B like that. We like Jack Carson. We like Donald Crisp. We like Frank Morgan. We like all the third bananas or the second bananas.
Yeah.
We love those guys.
Well,
I
they're the
love
glue. They're the
Edmund
glue.
O'Brien. Edmund O'Brien's one of the
O'Brien's
great actors. Edmund O'Brien's one of the great actors of all time in my book.
James Gleason.
Oh, James Gleason.
He's my favorite of that era of character actors from
You
the
know
30s.
how much I looked up the other day Ward Bond's movie credits.
Okay.
You want to keep reading? You want to read a half hour later?
Oh
Just
no,
look at
he's got a great,
You know how much money he made, and he died when he was 57 back in the 60s. You know how much money he was worth at that time? $8 million.
Well, I believe it.
He made movie and he's different in
Yeah, but he was kind of a jerk to people too. Like he screwed around with. Yeah, he was one of those extreme guys that made sure you signed the loyalty oath, and he screwed with Anthony Quinn, and
Really?
oh yeah,
Anthony
so
Quinn.
yeah, and listen, I love.
I gotta read more about him, John, because see, I tell you stuff sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you tell me stuff I don't know.
No, I understand.
But you know what?
Go ahead, because I was going to ask you who was his co-star in Wagon Train, the younger guy, Robert
Horton.
Robert Horton. Man, I guess he was not pleasant. Robert Horton says Ward Bond was always an asshole to him. And it wasn't and really he's like, I didn't have fun on Wagon Train until after Ward died, sadly.
And John McIntyre took over.
By the way, another great character.
I love John
Never gets the credit he deserves. Great actor. Great actor.
John McIntyre who was in Rooster Cogburn, who was in Phoenix, some great movies. John McIntyre and who were we just talking about earlier? That was a bit actor.
Another character actor like that?
Yeah, we were just talking about him earlier. It's escaping, but John McIntyre's great.
Yeah.
No doubt
Well, like we
about
were
it.
saying, Ben Johnson, Dub Taylor, big Dub Taylor fan. God, I love finding Dub Taylor movies from the 40s. I mean, Doug Taylor, I mostly think of in the 60s, in like Support Your Local Sheriff and things like that. But, Jack Elam, another great actor.
I love Jack Elam. I mean, look,
that
whenever
crazy
he was
eye.
in a movie, there's trouble. There's trouble.
Well, and you couldn't help but like notice him because he had that crazy face.
He had the crazy face. I heard he was a sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
These guys, they made. And what's great about those movies, they were the same ensembles, and they just played different roles. And
my buddy Howard Shakin, I just talked to him a week ago. You'd love Howard. Howard's terrific. And we were talking about Dan Duryea, who apparently
I love Dan Duryea.
Dan Duryea was always like the meanest guy on screen, but
And he's
like
the nicest.
Yes, off screen was like
he had 4 kids. He was a scoutmaster. He was like the Chamber of Commerce guy.
family man, total.
And you ever see in the movie push a woman down the stairs in a wheelchair?
Absolutely.
In Winchester 73, he's a mean son of a bitch, man.
Along Came Jones.
Oh yeah,
Gary Cooper. Along Came Jones and Dan Duryea. Yeah. No, it's again these guys that are Flight of the Phoenix.
Yeah,
he's one of the guys in Flight of the Phoenix.
Yeah, he was. I like Dan Duryea a lot. I like him a lot. Steve McNally, who plays Jimmy Stewart's brother in Winchester 73.
Oh, sure.
Rifle. Great. My guy died on a boat with an all-female crew, Steve Cochran, who was in White Heat, the good-looking guy that was with Virginia Mayo. Steve Cochran was a stud, but he was a big womanizer, I guess, and he died of mysterious causes when he put out a want ad for an all-female crew. Yeah, we found the boat drifting and him dead. I don't know.
By the way, Virginia Mayo. Wow.
Oh,
wow.
First of all, I tell B all the time, I like Marilyn Monroe, but some of these girls, Virginia Mayo, the legs on her that went up to her neck,
the whole thing,
and a better actor. I like Marilyn Monroe, but Virginia Mayo was a great actress.
But I get Marilyn Monroe because you look at those. I mean, listen, the whole package. But you look at that face and those eyes, and you want to protect her. I mean, she's just you see the tortured soul in her face.
In her prime, which was at the beginning.
Yes.
Asphalt Jungle.
Absolutely.
With my buddy, my pal. What do you think we're going to do? Louis Calhern. Louis Calhern. You like Louis Calhern? Remember?
Sure.
He's the guy.
Sure.
Hello. I mean, he's so good. He plays the same guy every time. He started out in the silent movies. And Louis Calhern has Marilyn Monroe, who's so hot, as his love interest.
Yep.
And then McCluskey, who played Captain McCluskey, Sterling Hayden, was one of the toughest men ever in the movie business, who didn't take crap from anybody. Him, Robert Mitchum, there's Lee Marvin. Those guys, you stay away from them. You stay away from them. I looked at Lee Marvin the other day. Look at his medals that he won.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he was legit.
Wait, he wins the Bronze Star, the Star, the Civilian Freedom Star, the Marine Star. He's got all, and then it says busted the private because he was a troublemaker. And then you see his picture, you go, oh my God, what a badass.
Well,
Burt Lancaster.
I love Burt Lancaster. It's funny. Sal brought him up earlier.
You know what I watched him in tonight? Elmer Gantry.
I want to tell you, I'm a big fan. I enjoy his work. I saw Billy Crystal and Don Rickles together right before poor Don passed away. One of those My Dinner with Dons.
That was another one I took a hard fall on.
And Crystal was talking about meeting Burt Lancaster. He goes, "Were you an acrobat? You look like an acrobat. You move like an acrobat. I was an acrobat." And it's like, yeah, of course. Oh no, I love Burt Lancaster.
They point out when he does the film noir movies, he did all stunts. They show him going
The
down the
train
ladder.
in the 60s, Mike, in the
Yes.
train. That's
Yeah.
John Frankenheimer movie. That's all Burt
That's
Lancaster.
all Burt
rather.
Lancaster.
Oh,
Burt
no, he's
Lancaster
amazing.
in this one film goes down the ladder.
That's the movie.
That's
The train.
unbelievable.
You know what? And it was great because he was such a manly man, but then also he had this effeminate side to him as well,
Yeah.
because he did the Ali Frazier fight. He was the host of it.
I got to tell you, I loved them doing it. It was great. I've
Oh, it
listened
was
to
amazing. No,
Oh.
and you could people can watch it. How are
I'll
you?
tell
doing?
you what, he's hitting them with the right hand a couple different times. He's hitting them with that right hand. You know, he was great.
Hello, Ali. How are you, dear boy? Yes. Oh, I'm looking forward to doing the fight. All
He
right.
had the glasses on, and he
Yes. Yeah. No, he's Burt Lancaster, and he and Kirk Douglas. I love Tough Guys, that movie they made in the 80s with Dana Carvey. And again, because they still had it. Even as old men, they still had it.
They did, John. They still had it. The guys. I mean, I think myself, John Wayne should have won for the shootist on the Academy Award. He was.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
I thought they should have given it to him because he, once again, he always stepped up to whoever was his co-star, whether it be Katharine Hepburn, or Lauren Bacall, or other people. Yeah. And he always included like young people too. I remember we used to see him. Well, he had Ricky Nelson and Dean Martin in Rio Bravo. Is that it? They sing the song together.
Oh,
you will never see that again. You'll never see that again.
No, you're right.
Some good stuff,
right.
you know.
I was just watching a recent Ron Howard interview, and him talking about working with the Duke on the Shootist. And Mike, I keep telling you, there's that fantastic biography that Scott Iman wrote about John Wayne, and they really go into detail about the Shootist. And you know, by the early '60s, after the Alamo and after he directed the Alamo, Wayne really wanted to direct more.
Right.
And a lot of time, like Don Siegel, who was the Dirty Harry director and made a lot of great movies, he and Wayne did not get along on the Shootist because Wayne wanted his own way. And thankfully, Ron Howard softened Wayne because Ron liked to rehearse.
Oh.
And he got to Wayne and he's like, hey, I'm a little nervous about this scene. Can we run lines? And Wayne's like, I would love to run lines. So they really got to be friends.
He was a working guy.
He loved Ron Howard, and he said a year or so afterwards, he goes, and it was even when he was dying, Wayne's like, he goes, I'm looking for something for the two of us. We got to work together again sometime. What a compliment.
Yeah. It was. There's certain guys that won't happen again. Elvis, Wayne, Hepburn,
my buddy Rich Warner wants you to join us in Highland Park one night when we have my buddy George.
What an honor.
Oh, Mike, you'd have a great
time. With your whole crew?
Yeah, Mike, you'd have a great time.
I can stay with you guys? I can hang with you guys?
If you'd be willing, you should come one night.
What did I
talk
about? We're talking about?
Yeah, no, they'd love it. Are you kidding? And they'll pump you for score stories.
Oh, God, I got a million of them, man.
I know you do. God bless you, man.
I think, when I started those
10 years, and you had more fun afterwards.
Oh, I had fun. I have so much fun now. I'm with Carmen now on ESPN 1000.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of fun. I just do my 1 hour week. I could do every day if I wanted.
So wait, Mike. So you got the Somebody Big Just Died podcast, but also do you have Raging Bulls? You said
Raging Mouth is coming out.
Raging Mouth. Excuse me. Is that the
episode? I named it after Raging Bull. I call myself Raging Mouth. I've done my two. We're going to reissue the first 2 episodes. Aldo Gandhi had gotten sick, as you know. He hadn't felt well.
I didn't know.
Yeah, he's back at a 100%. He just had a minor.
Oh, good. Okay.
But we're going to do episodes 3 and 4 on the score. You'll be featured. Other people from Jiggets.
Okay.
Danny Mac, Terry, the greatest in my opinion. I'm very proud of the score. I'm very proud of what we did. I think that there'll never be another story like that. 3 shows that will dominate a city. 3 shows. And,
wait, what's the third? Wait a minute. What's the third show?
Well, we had the 3 shows where Cher, me and the Jiggets, and Terry and Dan. Those were the 3 shows. What?
Okay.
Don't you remember?
Well, I remember, but I and no disrespect to Tom, but I really think it was really more about you guys and you.
Yeah, but you know what, Jake?
And Dan and Terry.
You got to remember something. That
I mean,
set
don't
it
get me
up
wrong,
for us.
Tom was part of the mix, and I
Yeah.
think he did fine.
He was part. He set it up for us.
He
Look,
set the table. Yes, he
he
did.
set the table. The way I look at it is, I watched the first year of The Sopranos. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Melfi's in half of the episodes.
Right.
In
Right.
every episode, she's in like
Lorraine Bracco, yeah.
a third.
Yeah.
I was never a fan, but I understand where they were going with it. It's a different story. Mob guy, kingpin, talking to a psychiatrist.
Sure.
But at first, and I think she'll even admit it, and when we went and saw The Sopranos,
Right.
I saw her there, by the way.
Of
And
course.
she's still a striking figure. But as you go through the years and watch it, she gets less time. Right. You know that. The first
Yeah.
year's the toughest year for me to sit in because I'm not a fan of hers, but I watch it anyway, and she was good. But then as they start to see, hey, there's a guy, Big Pussy. There's a guy, Frank. Who was the broad? His girlfriends were the ones that were nuts. Tony's girlfriends.
The Russians?
Annabella Ciora?
Yeah.
Is that her name? Anna Ciora?
Yeah. From Jungle
She was out of her
Fever. And
mind. What a high.
Yeah.
And the Russian girls, you know?
I love when, of course, I love when the Russian girl pops up in other things, and it's like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite Tony Soprano affairs is when he did it with the one-legged woman.
Yeah, the one-legged woman.
Oh,
Svetlana. Great name, Svetlana.
she's got the staff, and she's making it to the bedroom, you know. Tony's got the cigar. You know, she's walking like this. Oh, that was good, Tony. And she's putting her leg back on. Oh, God, what a beautiful story.
Great
What a
loss
show,
of
right?
Gandolfini. It's such a shame that we lost Gandolfini.
Oh,
because
my
he was so
God.
good.
Well, you know what? I've read about him. And quite the appetite for a lot of things. Just quite the
Sure.
appetite.
Sure.
I mean, just let himself go. I love him in the movie with Redford as
The
what's
Last
his name?
Castle?
Oh, I love him in it. Maybe you don't know how, he tries to change his voice. He's got his
Well,
class, and he does a good job.
Get Shorty when he's bare.
Oh,
And he's a redneck good old boy. And no way in hell is that the same guy that's Tony Soprano.
right. I'll
It
tell
is.
you what. Get Shorty's one of my top 5 movies I
It's a
stop
great
on.
movie.
If I
Oh,
watch
yeah.
it.
No, it's a lot of fun.
Gene Hackman is so good, and so
Everybody. Well, and your good friend that sadly passed away, Dennis Farina.
Oh my God! I'm from Miami fucking Beach, and you're telling me about the sunset. What a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean?
But for me, for his beyond his great television.
My name's
But,
Barbone.
Midnight Run for me with Farina.
Oh,
I'm going to stab you in
De
your
Niro.
eye with his pencil.
that might be De Niro's most surprising to me.
Well, it started as an
Performance.
Eddie Murphy. It started as an Eddie Murphy movie, and
I'll
then it
tell you
became a
what.
De Niro movie.
I got to be honest with you. I was stunned how great De Niro was. His comedic timing was so good. And Grodin was excellent. They were great. I wish they would have made another one. I wish they would have made another one, man.
No, I hear you. Although I do listen, and of course, De Niro's the man. Nobody will take that away from him. I do think some movies. Everything you said about Clooney, Mike, I could say about De Niro. Sadly,
Here goes the
it
check.
happened, and God
Let me
bless
tell you
him. He's like
he
Hackman.
owns Tribeca, John. He owns Tribeca, needs
Sure.
to make money. I
I-
think Pesci, until somebody convinces me otherwise, besides De Niro and Godfather 2, which is so good, that's set apart and so is great. But I think Pesci acts with them head to head. And
Oh,
every
100%.
movie, right.
In every movie they do together.
And every
Absolutely.
movie they make. I think Pesci in Home Alone is great. I think Pesci, just to do that role, you can't believe it's the guy in Goodfellas. You know?
Absolutely. Tommy.
It's just- even in the movie he did The Irishman.
I
Even
like
in-
The Irishman a lot. I love The Irishman.
I didn't like Pacino. I love him in everything.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, you didn't like him as Hoffa. Yeah.
I like
And
Nicholson.
again, because you love Nicholson as Hoffa.
Well, Nicholson's so good. as Hoffa. He had his hair cut the same way.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
he talks just like him. I mean, the guy is that after that movie, I think for Jack, it started. He did with Diane Keaton. He did that movie where he's the record mogul. What's the name of it? I can't even remember. But About Schmidt was his last movie.
Yeah, there you go. It's the airplane again. That's you know what I remember with the airplane. Sadly, is you and Steve Dahl Breaking Bad on a departed radio host that I will not name, but because we shouldn't speak ill of the dead like that. But
we were bad.
Were we God, bad? Yeah, because Steve was a guest on the TV show, and after
who was it? I probably feel bad now.
Oh God, Bob Collins, man, it was Bob Collins.
I think Steve was harder on him.
All I remember is us, and it's like, oh man, that's terrible, man. The guy was a private plane.
Wait a minute.
It happens.
They're trying to land on a hospital rough.
Oh no, it was yeah. And also, listen, Bob was
not a street. There's not a street.
I don't wish anyone dead, but Bob was not a nice guy either. So it's okay. I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It happens.
Take a left, and there's a street or maybe a park. You have to land.
Terrible. All right, we're going to hell. We're both going to hell.
Yeah,
seriously. Mike. Honestly, as you know, those 10 years we worked together were hilarious, and we would go to New York for when we met the Sopranos for season 2. We met them all.
I'll tell you, Paulie Walnuts. I go, hey, you want to do my radio show? I don't do radio.
I just do one guy's show. I only do one
guy's show in New York. I don't do radio. Yeah, but I'm here. We're all the Sopranos. We were in the restaurant. We just saw the debut of the second season. I do Chicago radio. Maybe you didn't hear me.
Yeah, Tony Sirico.
I went.
Yeah, sorry.
Straight out. And then Gandolfini looked at me like he looked at the alderman, the councilman, before he beat his ass with the whip.
Peter Rickert, yeah.
Yeah, before he beat Peter Rickert's ass. Gandolfini gave me the look. Got along great with Steve. I got along great with
Van Zant was fantastic.
Edie Falco was great.
Edie Falco was very sweet. I talked to her.
Janice Turturro was great.
Aida Turturro was great. But we had a ball with the kids, especially Anthony Jr.
We tell Anthony, you know what?
You're gonna get laid.
Get laid. He goes, you think so?
We're telling this 12-year-old kid how he's gonna get laid when he gets older. Absolutely.
That's the best one. There's Dominic Chianese. He's standing there. He looks. He's standing like
like Mussolini. Like Mussolini.
Like he does in the show. He's standing there he's got a little cocktail in his hand. We walk up, they go, hey, you were great as Johnny Ola.
Yeah, we're like, listen, fuck Junior Soprano. You were goddamn
Johnny Ola. He goes, you guys remember that? It's what's with these guys. They act like nobody fucking. I go, do we remember it? You're a legend. You're Johnny Ola. He goes,
proud as hell.
He was so proud.
Absolutely.
I go, you're in the great
sweetheart of the guy.
Time? He goes, I was. He acted like Junior.
He was great.
Like oblivious. We did our project. We move on.
Well, it was. I mean, Mike, it was 20 years earlier, so I get it.
God damn it,
25 years earlier.
It's The Godfather, though.
I understand.
And it's Godfather 2. It's better than Godfather 1. Man.
Who's the Southerner that's the senator that was in One-on-One?
I love him. I
can't think his name.
Senator Gary. I love him.
Mr. Corleone.
I started laughing. I can't remember what happened.
Oh yeah, with the dead hooker. Jesus.
These men are all your friends.
Senator, don't worry about a thing. I'm Bob Duvall.
Like your silky suits. He starts points a cannon at Michael Corleone.
Now, when it comes to guys, we'll wrap up soon. Like I'm keeping you. I'm sorry.
I feel like
all right, good. I
feel like I'm 50 again.
All right, Godfather 3. Do you hate it, or are you like it's okay, but it certainly isn't in the same category as the first two? I like it, but it's not in this. I mean,
I don't know what Pacino here. I only have two. I love Al Pacino. Every movie he makes. I love me and B since we were kids together.
Sure. Sure.
Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon. I mean, you name them all. We did them all. Bobby Deerfield.
Sure. Maybe not
Um,
Cruising, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Cruising, I did see. I saw Cruising.
I didn't see
Balls
it.
out.
I mean,
Very-
God bless him for being edgy and everything. God
Yeah,
bless him.
balls, man. I couldn't believe he did it. I couldn't believe he did it.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He's a great.
And
But
so-
go on. So what
But
about
some
3?
actors won't. Look, Robert Mitchum won't work with Sidney Poitier. Okay, we don't. Have to
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he says because he didn't like the where it was being shot. The title. Other people say for other reasons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Interesting.
Tony Curtis got the role. I think he just didn't want to do the movie. But
Oh, so Defiant Ones was supposed to be Mitchum, and instead it was
Mitchum.
Tony Curtis.
it was supposed to be Mitchum and
I didn't know that. Go on.
But I got to be honest, Tony Curtis did a great job.
Oh, it's a great. It's his probably that and Sweet Smell of Success.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
two best Tony Curtis movies.
Sweet Smell of Success. So good.
The best.
Marty Milner, and just such a dark movie, And I know what Lancaster, that was his production company.
That's right.
So
You're
they
right.
were trying, and he played the Walter Winchell guy
Yeah.
perfectly. But yeah,
No, that is that era in one movie. The press
That's right.
agent and the idea of
you know what
celebrity.
movies I like? I like Flamingo Road with Joan Crawford.
Sure, that's a good one.
I love Sidney Greenstreet.
Oh,
I
of
love
course.
He only had a 10-year career or something. He
You're right.
started late, man.
Yep.
And
Uh,
I'm fascinated by him. I am.
Him and Peter Lorre, and it's just the two of them. The Mask of Demetrius. Great
Anything
noir
they're in.
movie.
Yeah. Anything they're in, he plays Mildred Pierce.
Yes,
He's great. He's great. I
Back
mean,
to Jack Carson.
Maltese Falcon.
of course.
I mean, the guy is just outstanding. He really is.
Yeah. And of course Casablanca.
Oh,
He owns the competing club, the Blue Parrot.
yeah.
He won't be rich without Sam. Oh yes.
I got his ma.
I like talking to a man who likes to talk. No, good shit, man. All right, wait. So back to 3. You didn't answer my question. What do you
What's
think
that?
of 3? Godfather 3. You didn't answer my question.
What's with the? I don't like the Pacino had a drill sergeant haircut. Number one, okay. He had that. Yeah,
You had that weird cut.
yeah. He had the weird cut. I think Garcia was good, but it was confusing. And I think Sofia Coppola was horrible as the star. Horrible.
Well, it was supposed to. It was supposed to be
She's
Winona
where
Ryder.
she belongs. She's a brilliant director.
Oh no,
guess.
she's a great director. But that was supposed to be Winona Ryder, and I forget why she didn't end up doing it.
She
But
should
I
have
know.
done it.
Yeah.
I thought Coppola. I think he told the story in 2, but the money was gonna, he
It
just
was
ended
too good to resist. Absolutely.
And he did predict some things. The Pope was murdered. I think the one Pope was murdered.
Yeah, the
30
first
days.
John Paul the
Guys,
first.
the guy's Pope for 30 days and he's dead. Come on. I mean, come on. And
Yeah.
it was very mysterious. And I think I think he had it down. So if you watch it from that standpoint,
That's
about
why I
the
like it.
Vatican, that's why you like it. When you're younger, the helicopter scene was flamboyant and crazy and good. Garcia's temper was good.
I like
Diane
it.
Keaton, I thought Diane Keaton was great coming back.
Eli Wallach, I thought was very good in it.
Yeah, well, Eli Wallach,
Always great. Another
Oh.
great character actor.
Magnificent Seven. Are you kidding me?
Everything. But you're absolutely right. Magnificent Seven, 100%. Everything. He
Magnificent.
did.
Baby Doll.
Baby Doll. Even
Oh.
the Wall Street. Even the. Did he do the sequel? Yeah, he did the sequel.
Baby Doll. He's great in Baby Doll. But then again,
Miss-
so's Carl Malden.
Mistress, the movie with Robert Wool, De Niro, Danny Aiello, and Eli Wallach. That's an amazing movie. I got to interview Robert Wool and talk to him at length about Mistress.
Nice.
I'm like, that's one of your best movies.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you the movie I watched the other day. Could be one of my favorite gangster movies of all time. It's a long watch. Once Upon a Time in America.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My God, James Woods, Robert De Niro, Tuesday Weld.
Yep.
Joe Pesci, Treat Williams.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
Tree, yeah. By the way, when Tree Williams died, your sister,
oh my God, I took it hard.
my heart. Broke my heart.
Broke my heart, man. Took it hard. Prince of the
One
City.
of the best.
If you want to, if you haven't seen Prince of the City and you want an actual, it's better than Serpico, folks. And Serpico
I agree.
talks about corruption. But if you want Prince of the City with great acting,
Lumet,
that's it right there.
Sidney Lumet, one of the best directors.
An unbelievable movie. Unbelievable movie.
I'm with you.
You know, I love movies.
Good stuff. There you go.
Yeah.
We can wrap, buddy. You want to wrap?
All right.
Good job.
Can I come
See,
on?
I was going to say, I'm like, I was telling you off here.
I've been waiting. The phone rings. I go, not shaky. He
Shut
doesn't
up.
want me in this.
Give me a break. What are you talking about?
How about the rides back from Overbite, from Hollywood Casino? The best comedy. We should have done a comedy album.
We should have run a tape.
A comedy album. Me, you, BB, Jerry Riles, Jesse Rogers, and Charles. Oh my God. We'd be cracking jokes, and then I think I took the wrong turn. You know, we'd be on the Skyway somewhere.
Hollywood Casino would give us a limo to and from doing the TV show.
And Charles was our driver.
And we had a ball.
I don't know what happened to him. We had a ball.
We were just dog tired from doing the TV show,
and we were
like you more than anybody because you're on camera the whole time,
and we were delirious. And you'd make
So yeah, we were just too tired and just kept laughing.
If I ever want to write a book on just the people we had dinner with, you know, and that we ran into,
yes, indeed.
It will come out someday, Shake.
I hear you, bud.
Well,
thank you. This was great.
It was a good time. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I never do these long a podcast, but I used to do. I remember I did the 18 hours on the air straight. I did the 4th year. I finally got done to be. I go, never again. I always said make 18 hours for 4 years straight.
Exactly. Well, you know.
Those were the days.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you still have them. Look at you. How you feeling, by the way?
I'm doing. Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. I'm all right. You know, I'm trying to.
And Jesse.
Got to drop 2 pant size. Got to drop 2 pant size.
You got to drop some weight. You dropping the fork?
Yeah,
I'm trying. On keto. I go on keto. I lost 30 pounds. I eat just beef and cheese. That's your type of diet, isn't it?
I do like beef and cheese.
But you don't eat starch. You don't eat spaghetti.
Right. Yeah, can't eat the carbs.
You still look good to me, Shake.
Well, God bless you. That's because the fat pushes out the wrinkles. That's why. It's true.
You can do whatever you want to do. You know what? You're feeling good now. As long as you're feeling
I'm working. I'm pushing the envelope. I'm trying to work out more and everything and get things going. We'll get there.
You're the man.
All right. Somebody up there somebody big just died.
Somebody big just died. They're dropping like flies, Shake.
And raging mouth.
And I'm on the Odds Couple Fridays and Saturday, my podcast.
On ESPN 1000.
And I'm doing my Guest with Shaky. I go on other shows, and because I do this stuff, I did this on the street corner. So this is nothing. Talking to John is no. I never call him John, but he is John Suntress, one of the best.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Great state, and better than what's that guy's name? Who was you and I were better than Conan, and who's the other guy? Andy Richter.
Oh, as a team, Andy Richter and Conan O'Brien. Sure.
Forget about it. They don't want us.
Oh, we had it. Well, you know, we did all right.
Love you, Shake.
You too, buddy. Thank you very much for doing this. Thanks everybody for watching. Tomorrow, Terry Dodson, outstanding cartoonist, wonderful man.
What cartoon?
He's an artist. He's a comic book artist.
Okay.
But great stuff. Yeah, man. No, great stuff for Marvel over the years. He's got a great book, Adventure Man. He just put out an art book of some of his most beautiful works. We'll talk tomorrow night here on Word Balloon Live.
Did I ever tell you I had the hots for Brenda Starr as a child? Is that normal? I had the hots for Carmen cartoon strip character.
Absolutely.
She was. Joe St. John-ish back then.
I would agree. Right? Absolutely.
I think they made a Brenda Starr TV show or something.
Well, they made a movie. Brooke Shields played her.
Oh, that's right. It didn't do well, did it?
No, it didn't do well. That's all right. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
All right, Jake.
All right, guys. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.